The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon.
The G-Man.
Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan.
David Gopklin.
I'm Rob Lusher,
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon. My name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Sonley, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening
to Pitch Talk.
Good evening, everybody. We would like to welcome you to the soiree, the gentlemanly, dignified soiree that is your Monday night footballing fix. And that Monday night footballing fix is called Pitch Talk. So we would like to welcome everybody by saying, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions, because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I got that again. You scripted ad-libs. Scripted ad-libs are plenty because it is your Monday night footballing fix. We are live right now on youtube.com/pitch talk. It's well, Lemos. Also, you can find out about us. www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. Find out about everything Pitch Talk there. Also, facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution. We are working so hard to create. pitchtalk.blogspot.com and also .co.uk as well. We'll get you to the blogs by yours truly, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jazzy Fizzle, and many, many others, including Dave Mear, aka at Mearcy, and his Word of a Ref blogs as well. Oh my word, youtube.com/Pitch Talk as well is where you can find all of our videos, including Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. We've got 2 of the build-up trailer bonus videos up on YouTube right now. We've got another one coming this Wednesday, and for each of the Wednesdays in December, we've got more. So we've got 2 out already. We got 3 more to go as we build up to our New Year's Day 2016 interview release, and that is Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. We had questions from the PT family as well, sent in via email, via oh my God, via email, via Twitter, via Facebook. We had questions coming in from everywhere, and Darrell answered them all. So it is one of them ones where, yeah, it is one of them ones. New Year's Day 2016 is when Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. The full interview comes out. Also, I said, remember, every Wednesday this December, this month, we have more bonus videos coming out. But it is one of them ones. Also, our phone number 07535 804 466. That's 07535 804 466. That's the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you're texting, it's one of them ones. Leave your name at the end of the text so we can shout you out, because it is we the people for the people, not five the people, not six the people. It's we the people for the people, and that is for life. Also, we are Pitch Talk 1 on Skype as well, and also we're on Twitter too, twitter.com/Pitch Talk or at Pitch Talk on Twitter. Tweet with us, follow us, see what we are up to. Also, we are at Pitch Talk on Instagram as well. Hey, if you're getting around the grounds, feel free to tag us in a picture. It's one of them ones. We'd love to see him on Instagram as well. It is one of them ones where, yeah, we are live on youtube.com/Pitch Talk. We also podcast our shows on iTunes, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Spreaker, and TuneIn Radio as well. Remember, peeps, we need you to spread those video links. We need you to spread those podcast links. Give us some comments. Give us a like if you like what you hear. It's one of them ones. At the end of the day, we need your help to spread this and make this bigger as well. So it is one of them ones. But yeah, we are live. Jezzy, G-Man, how's your week and weekend been?
Week and weekend's been good, man. You know, I have to say, like, it's wonderful to be here again. Couple of birthday shout outs. Shout out to my cousin Junior. It's his birthday. It's my cousin Thaddeus' birthday today, so, you know, happy birthday to you, sir. And of course, very, very good friend of mine, good friend of the family, Brian. It's his birthday too. Happy belated birthday to him. And, you know, overall, like I say, man, I'll be honest, right? The week and weekend was good for me personally. For my team, it was awful.
Nah.
For all of you, it was fantastic, because now you get to listen to this, right? And shout out to my brother from another mother, that's G-Day. I know you're listening, locked on. For all of you, right, it's great, because now it's the game of let's all laugh at Jezzy, right? Again,
yes.
No, I'm not playing that game.
Oh, we're all gonna play.
Homie don't play that.
We're all gonna play it.
Homie don't play that.
We're gonna spin the bottle to see who laughs at once.
Thank you very much. Good night. I'm done.
It's tremendous. It is tremendous. It's gonna be a lot of fun tonight. Don't worry about it. He's like, don't worry about it. It's like The Rock mocking the Big Show in the run up to WrestleMania 15. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be fun. First OWR tonight.
I'm just saying this. Anybody that wants to talk about that, I don't want to talk about that.
Do you really want to? Do you really want to go a certain way with that? Is it one of them ones where
I'm saying I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want.
And we ain't got to talk about it either.
I don't want to talk about it. do you really want to go that way? Wait, hold on. Do you really want to go that way? It's like I don't know. I don't know if you really want to go that way, but we'll see. That's pretty.
But I don't want to go your way. Let's just clear that up right now.
Okay. Surely swing my way. Anyway, carry on.
G-Man, how was your week and weekend, man?
Yeah, week and weekend's been great. Like follow your sentiments. It's great to be back. Also, a big shout out to all your fam that's having their birthdays and that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and as said before, yeah, it's just great to be back. To be honest, week and weekend, nothing really to chime home about. It's just been a standard 9 to 5 sort of thing. Yeah, it's back to the show where the excitement's at. Been missing it.
Nah, I hear that, bro. I hear that. it is one of them ones where, yeah, you're gonna have a good time. We gonna have a good time tonight. By the way, I'd like to give a big shout out to my little sister who it's her birthday today as well. So December 14th was a special day in the household. So yeah, this one of them was. I was gonna say big shout outs to Anthony Joshua as well, because that knockout was funny on Saturday. That was so funny. Oh my god. I'm not even a boxing fan, not even gonna pretend to be, but I saw that fight on Saturday and some of the videos that have come out of it are just absolutely tremendous. That made part of my weekend hilarious. I've been in bed for most of it, but it was one of them was one hilarious glimmer in a hilarious glimmer in the mucus-filled darkness that has been part of my week, most of my weekend.
Did you say mucus-filled darkness?
Yes, I did. That is the grimmest analogy I could come out with. No, it's not been that bad. It's not
No,
that
digger.
bad. Super and Big Bang Theory is not that bad.
For Dylan White, in the wisdomic words of Jamie Vardy, talk S and get banged.
Oh, I hate that phrase. I hate that phrase already. But no, it was one that was. You guys might have seen that video on WhatsApp. You so I love that kind of thing. But yeah, my weekend's been been good. The back end of the week wasn't brilliant. Didn't get to see the Eagles 5s because I haven't been well over the weekend, but this one there was nothing sinister before people go, "Oh, you're not well. Is it something sinister?" No Nathaniel Essex style illnesses. It's a cold. And Nathaniel Essex, obviously an obligatory X-Men reference. Right about there. But yeah, here's one of them. It's good. Big shout outs, by the way, to Russ Vernon, Mike Harniman, and one of our brand new Skypers, Danny, in the chat as well. So here's one of them ones. We are gonna give a couple more shout outs before we get into results analysis. But it's one of them was a big time shout out to Motivate Sports and Fitness at Motivate SF on Twitter, and also facebook.com/Motivate Sports and Fitness. Also, big shout out to Girls on the Ball at Girls on the Ball on Twitter, facebook.com/Girls on the Ball and girlsontheball.com. Big time shout outs to Thin White Line magazine as well. Their newest issue is out now, so order that as soon as possible. thinwhitelinemagazine.com is where you go to pick up that fantastic publication, which we at Pitch Talk have actually featured in issue 1 and issue 0 as well. So big shout outs to Thin White Line magazine. Big shout outs to Ian Kerr of Thin White Line magazine, the editor. We do have the Thin White Line magazine's A-League roundup exclusive to your Monday Night Football and Fixed Pitch Talk coming up later in the show during results analysis. So stick around for that. We're also dropping updates on Leicester City v Chelsea as well. It's still 0-0 at the moment, about 15 minutes played in that one. Chelsea a point above the bottom three. A point above the bottom three. And Bournemouth and Newcastle winning, more on that later, did not help Chelsea's cause. But tear to the old glass eye. One of them was Tell Your Story Walking, Mr. Jose Mourinho. But anyway, it is one of them ones where, thinwhitelinemagazine.com, facebook.com/Thin White Line Magazine, and at Tweet White Line on Twitter. Get your copy of the latest Thin White Line Magazine edition. So it is one of them ones, and tell them we sent you. They also do have a podcast as well. And big shout outs also to RS Media and their podcasts that have started recently as well. But you know what? It is one of them ones where it is about that time for us to start that breakneck speed of the show by going into results and analysis. It's results and analyses. It's results and some analyses as well. It's one of them was results and analysis. Of course, it's where we kick off. And hey, G-Man, Jezzy, should we kick off with the Champions League? Should we, or is that gonna bring up some sour cherries?
Bruv.
I mean sour grapes.
This guy.
This guy has got it going on. This guy's got it going on. Nah. Is that all that and the elimination? Man United's got it going on. Nah. You know what? Let's start with the Champions League. Tuesday, 8th of December 2015. Champions League Group A. Paris Saint-Germain 2, Shakhtar Donetsk 0. Lucas Moura on 57 minutes and Zlatan Ibrahimovic daring to Zlatan as per usual on 86 minutes, adding the second goal there. Real Madrid 8, Malmo 0. Yes, you heard right. Real Madrid 8, Malmo 0. Bit of record breaking going on from Ronaldo, but we'll get into that a little later because we got quite a few congratulations to give out a bit later on as well. But here's one of them was Benzema on 12 minutes. Benzema again on 24 minutes. Ronaldo on 39, 47, 50, and 58. Kovacic adding one on 70 minutes and Karim Benzema scoring on 74 minutes. One of them was Madrid in somewhat ominous form, to say the very least. Part of me was actually hoping that they not score one more, because what Real Madrid did with that 8-0 result is they equaled an 8-0 result from Liverpool a few years ago against Besiktas. So it was one of them ones. I did not want them to score one more and take that record from us. So one of them was. Call me selfish if you want, but still. Group B, PSV Eindhoven 2, CSK in Moscow 1. Ignacevic scoring from the penalty spot on 76 minutes. Luke de Jong on 78 and Proper on 85 minutes getting the winning goal there. Jazzy Fizzle, would you like to take the next result in UEFA Champions League Group B?
No.
Are you sure? You don't want to take it? Are you sure?
Absolutely sure. No.
Are you sure? Shall we leave this result and come back to this result last?
No.
Should we? Just like a great masseuse, just rub it in that bit more. Should we do that?
No.
It is one of them ones. VfL Wolfsburg 3, Manchester United 2. And just like when you're playing survival mode and WWF No Mercy on the N64, Manchester United, because of this result, have been eliminated from the Champions League. Martial opening the scoring on 10 minutes with a pretty good finish, to be honest. But Rodriguez scored on 13 minutes. Vieirinha scored on 29 minutes. There was actually an own goal in this on 82 minutes, and Rodriguez scored again on 84 minutes. So it was one of them ones where United needed to win to progress. And one of them was in not the most difficult group they've ever had in the Champions League, and they crashed down into the Europas. More on that later. But Champions League Group C, Benfica 1, Atletico Madrid 2. Niguez opened the scoring on 33 minutes, Vieto on 55, and Mitroglou, formerly of Fulham, scoring on 75 minutes to give Benfica a little glimmer of hope with Julio Cesar still in goal for him. Galatasaray 1, Astana 1. Twamasi scoring on 62 minutes and Inan equalising on 64 minutes. UEFA Champions League Group B. Sorry, has to be said that way. Not Group A, not Group B, not Group C, but Group D. One of them was dropping that Group D right there. Man City 4, Borussia Mönchengladbach 2. David Silva opening the scoring on 16 minutes. Korb equalising on 19 minutes. Arujo scoring on 42 minutes to give Mönchengladbach a surprise lead at halftime. But Raheem Sterling scored on 79 and 81 minutes. And Wilfred Bonney scoring on 85 minutes. Somewhat fortuitously needed those two bites at the cherry. But it is one of them was Right? He ended up getting the goal. But it is one of them ones shifting on. Sevilla 1, Juventus 0. Llorente with the only goal of the game on 65 minutes. Shifting on to Wednesday night for December 2015, Bayer Leverkusen 1, Barcelona 1 in Group E. Lionel Messi scoring on 20 minutes with Javier Chicharito Hernandez, a man who Manchester United must be really missing at the moment, scoring on 23 minutes. Roma 0, Bate Borisov 0. The Bate boys holding their own in Italy. Group F, Dinamo Zagreb 0, Bayern Munich 2. Lewandowski bagging a brace, 61 and 64 minutes respectively. G-Man, next result's yours. You want it?
Yeah, I'll gladly take this on like Jesse.
Liberties.
Stop hating.
Where's that Greg Wallace meme that I've got? Stop hating.
Olympiacos 0, Arsenal 3, and Arsenal managing to do what Liverpool done in 2004 when they had to win a crucial game, the last game of the group, by at least 2 goals. Oliver Giroud scored on the 29th minute. 49th minute, he then scored his second, and on the 67th minute, his hat-trick was complete by the penalty spot. Basically, I'm not going to go over the game. Mike Harniman might want to do that with his summary, but I just want to lay my thoughts on this. This is a group that we should never have been in this problem in the first place. Bayern Munich was the stiffest opposition. We had a great home match against Bayern Munich in which we can say demolished them at their own sort of game. And the 2 early games against Zagreb and Olympiacos, we effectively underestimated them. We took what I perceived to be League Cup sort of, or Capital One Cup sort of decisions in the team itself, in that we dropped check for the first 2 games. We played effectively a weakened squad so we could, have a stronger squad in the league games. This practically, put us under severe pressure, needing to win that next game against Bayern Munich, which then left us in the situation where when we did lose to Bayern Munich, we had to win our last 2 games, this last game being by 2 goals. I did fear that we might drop into the Europa League like some other teams, but we didn't.
Oh.
and that's not a side swipe. That is not a side swipe. That's just fact.
Oh, no. Of course not. Of course not.
No, I'm just saying, if you look up on the league table, see where Man United finish and see where Arsenal finish. It is where it is.
This guy.
Listen. Now that's a side swipe.
If we want to go back to the original Old Spice rant, go check it out on our YouTube channel. That's what I'm saying.
But bear in mind, Arsenal.
Just to end the summary, I think what Arsenal showed was grit and determination. There was a lot of fans that packed in early, that from the second match, almost wrote Arsenal off, saying they don't even want to go through on the Champions League. Yeah, saying Arsenal deserve to go through to the next stage of the Champions League. And all honesty, that is cobbles. Arsenal deserve to go through with the way they played in those matches that they needed to win. And at the end of the day, we've done it. We're through. We'll talk about the team that we've got in the next stage, but I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, it's one of them ones. I reckon Arsenal showed just like Neo in the first Matrix film, they showed the ability to dodge that Europa League bullet. So it's once again, because this is not the first time that Arsenal have been in that situation where they've had to win by 2 clear goals in the final match. This is not the first time you lot have done that. All right, you lot have done it again, but it's one of them ones. Well, it's a case of getting in that situation. It's proven costly again. Why? More on that later, because we're going to talk about the draw later on as well. So it's one of them ones. It's cost you again, potentially. But we'll get into that a little later. I mean, Mike Harniman, your view quickly on that Arsenal Olympiacos match before we move on with the rest of the games.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good performance. I thought Giroud was brilliant. It was outstanding, really, from start to finish. I thought Wenger had everything right, and you said there that with Arsenal, it's a bit like like what G-Man said. We kind of started off a bit slow, and we took the mentality and all that a bit wrong, and a bit treated it a bit more like the League Cup than the Champions League, which is why I kind of didn't think we'd get through. But at the same time, it's Wenger. Wenger's been in the Champions League, out of the group stages now for 20 seasons, 19 seasons or something like that. Ridiculous. So, part of me was kind of had a feeling that it could happen. Then, the way that the game went, I was just really, really pleased. I thought Giroud was brilliant, as I've said, really. And, even the likes of Ozil had a great game. Flamini, like literally to a man, they were brilliant. They've done their job, and it couldn't have gone any better, to be honest. I was just delighted that we got through and avoided the Europa League. And yeah, I know we've got a tricky tie, but Bayern Munich, for example, we've taken these teams and we've beaten them before. So the challenge now is to do it over 2 legs, and to have the kind of tie that we've got, that would be absolutely perfect to kind of say, right, we can do it in the group stage. Now we can do it over the 2 legs as well, and actually go out there and sort of show the world what we're all about.
Well, I said we'll get into the draw a bit later as well, because it's one of them ones. It's an interesting one to be had. It's an interesting one to get the views on. In all honesty, but it's one of them ones. To me, it's kind of costly coming runner up in the group, but. Well, more on that one later. But Danny, we've been made aware, and welcome to your Monday Night Football and Fix as a first timer. It is one of us. We've been made aware that you're an Arsenal and Stevenage supporter, just like Mr. Harniman as well. Do you want to jump in on the Arsenal Olympiacos game?
Yeah, I do. I thought Arsenal were absolutely terrific. I mean, they deserved to win in Greece. They played as a team. Like Mike said, Wenger got everything right. It was absolutely spot on. And yeah, I thought we played fantastically well, deserved to go through, and yeah, job done. And I know we got a difficult tie, but we just have to play like we did in the Champions League, and hopefully we'll progress.
I hear that. I mean, it is one of them ones. I said we're going to get into that draw a little later. We're definitely going to get into that one a little later as well. We also do have a caller on the line. Caller, you're through to your Monday Night Football and Fix. Who have we got the pleasure of speaking to?
Guess who?
Hey, what's up, Tom? You hanging around for a bit?
Yeah, I am actually.
Fantastic.
Got nothing else to do, so I might as well come and tune in by the phone.
That makes it sound like we're like a second, third, fourth choice on a Monday night.
No, it's a good job I've got unlimited minutes in it, so it's not too bad.
I hear that. Well, it is one of them. Let's power on in terms of the Champions League. Let's shift on to Group G. Chelsea 2, Porto 0. Marciano Sierra with an own goal on 12 minutes, and Willian rounding out the goal scoring on 52 minutes to send Chelsea through comfortably in the end. Dynamo Kiev 1, Maccabi Tel Aviv 0. Garmash on 16 minutes with the only goal in that game. Group H, Ghent 2, Zenit St. Petersburg 1. De Poitre on 18 minutes with the opening goal of the game. Zubia scoring on 65. Milicevic scoring on 78 minutes. And also in Group H, Valencia 0, Lyon 2. A game that Valencia really had to win to go through. It's one of them ones. They lost it 2-0 against Lyon. Cornet scoring, not Jim Cornet, scoring on 37 minutes, and Alexander Lacazette scoring on 76 minutes to round out the scoring for Lyon and send Valencia down into Europa League, where they actually could have met Man United. Obviously, Gary Neville being there and Philip Neville as his assistant. It's one of them ones. But shifting on, Thursday, Europa League, Thursday, 10th of December 2015. Group A, just selected results from the Europas. Ajax 1, Molde 1. Van de Beek scoring on 14 minutes and Singh scoring on 29 minutes. Gudels was actually sent off on 90 minutes for a second bookable. Fenerbahce 1, Celtic 1. Lazar Markovic with the goal for Fenerbahce on 39 minutes. Diego was sent off for a second bookable on 67, and Chris Commons scoring an equaliser on 75 minutes. But too late for Celtic in terms of picking up points in the Europa League. UEFA Europa League Group B, Bordeaux 2, Rubin Kazan 2, Kanunikov scoring on 31 minutes, Laborde equalising on 58, Roland scoring on 63, and Ustinov equalising for Rubin Kazan in that game. And Gilbert was actually sent off for a second bookable on 86 minutes. FC Sean 0, Liverpool 0. Pretty much bugger all to report from this, in all honesty. But it was one that was Liverpool were already top in the group anyway. Just needed a point to top it and guarantee it. So it is one of them ones. But Group J, Anderlecht 2, FK Karabag 1. Quintana Sosa opened the scoring on 26 minutes for Karabag, with Najar equalising on 28 and Okaka scoring on 31 minutes to give Anderlecht the win. Tottenham 4, Monaco 1. Lamela on 2, 15 and 37. Stephen Oshawari scoring on 61 and Tom Carroll on 77 minutes. Getting the goals in that one. Let's shift to Friday, 11th of December 2015. Sky Bet Championship. Blackburn 1, Rotherham 0. Hyam with an own goal on 30 minutes, the only goal of that game. Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Ebanks Landell on 15 minutes scoring, and Dexter Blackstock equalising on 80 minutes. And a quick update in terms of Leicester City versus Chelsea will be forthcoming in just a sec, because it is one of them ones where Eden Hazard has actually come off for Chelsea. So it is one of them ones. It's going from bad to worse for Chelsea. And speaking of getting or going from bad to worse, Matic looks like Phantom of the Opera, but it is one of them ones where I'm going to build up to that. I'm actually tempted to build up to that one. It is one of them ones. Jamie Vardy has opened the scoring in Leicester v Chelsea. Leicester are 1-0 down against. Leicester are 1-0 up against Chelsea. Chelsea's troubles just keep mounting. Is one of them ones. That Vardy-Mahrez partnership. One of the most lethal in the Premier League, if not the most lethal, is coming up trumps again. Jamie Vardy has put Leicester City ahead against Chelsea. So it is one of them ones. Tremendous stuff. But hey, it's one of them ones. So Leicester City 1, Chelsea 0 is a Premier League current score. So Mr. Mourinho ain't going to be happy about anything. But it is one of them ones. Moving on. Saturday, December 12th, 2015. Let's jump into the Football League. Starting with the Sky Bet Championship. MK Dons 0, Ipswich 1. Brett Pittman with the only goal of the game on 10 minutes. Cardiff 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Craig Noon converting a penalty on 21 minutes. Pilkington on 34 minutes. Forestieri on 61. And Barry Bannon with his first goal in a couple of years on 76 minutes. Charlton 0, Leeds 0. Tom Adeyemi hitting the post, coming closest in that one to actually getting a goal. Derby County 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 2. Excuse me. Wilson on 22 minutes. Johnson on 41 equalising. Van La Parra scoring on 75 minutes, but Chris Martin scored a penalty on 88 minutes. Speaking of 2-2 draws, Fulham 2, Brentford 2. Judge scored a penalty on 18 minutes. Tarkowski scored an own goal on 40 minutes. Moussa Dembele continued his impressive recent form, scoring on 64 minutes, and O'Connell equalised for the Bees on 71 minutes. Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 2. Khadija scoring on 7 minutes. Flint on 29 and Bunn on 84 minutes. Hull 1, Bolton 0. Chuba Akpom with the only goal of the game on 19 minutes. Middlesbrough 0, Birmingham 0. Not really to report on this one, apart from the poor conditions and that David Nugent got himself sent off in second half injury time. It is one of them ones, but yeah, straight red actually. Preston 1, Reading 0. Joe Garner with the only goal of the game from the penalty spot on 52 minutes. QPR 0, Burnley 0. Their first game under Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank ending in a 0-0 draw. Sky Bet League 1, Bradford versus Southend was actually postponed. Bury 1, Chesterfield 0. Mayer with the only goal of the game on 68 minutes. Colchester 2, Barnsley 3. Hourahan on 18 minutes. Adam Hamill on 47 minutes. Tony on 60 minutes. Moncur scored on 67 minutes and Porter scoring on 70, but it wasn't enough for Colchester, who went down 3-2 in defeat. Speaking of 3-2, Doncaster 3, Crew 2. Haber on 26 minutes. Grant equalised on 32 minutes. Saunders equalised on 90 minutes. On 93 minutes, Stewart scored and Williams scored on 95 minutes. Went all crazy there. Fleetwood versus Walsall was postponed. Gillingham 0, Burton 3. Loft was sent off on 37 minutes after his second booking. He'd already been booked on 28 minutes. McCrory scored the opening goal on 59 minutes. Lewis Akins scored on 90 minutes and O'Connor scored on 96 minutes. Oldham v Millwall, another postponed match. Peterborough 1, Shrewsbury 1. Washington on 56 minutes and Barnett scoring the equaliser for the Shrews on 79 minutes. Port Vale 1, Scunthorpe 1. Scunthorpe opened the scoring through King on 36 minutes, but Leitch Smith scored in first half stoppage times to equalise, and that's how it stayed. Swindon 2, Rochdale 1. O'Sullivan was sent off on 12 minutes straight red. Robert scored on 34 minutes. Gladwin scored on 34. So 33, 34, and Lancashire got one back for Rochdale on 60 minutes. Wigan 0, Blackpool 1. Aldred with the only goal of the game on 36 minutes. Dropping down to League 2. Accrington versus Wickham was postponed, along with Morecambe v Exeter as well. Wimbledon 1, Stevenage 2. Frankham on 43 minutes opened the scoring for Wimbledon, who have had quite a bit of good news this week. We've been able to, with Merton approving them returning home, as it were. But yeah, it is one of them ones. Wasn't good news on the pitch though, because Matt scored on 57 minutes and Okemo scored on 76 minutes. Bristol Rovers 2, York 1. Oliver on 41 minutes. Jermaine Easter on 71 minutes and Taylor on 91 minutes, giving Bristol Rovers the win. Crawley 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 2. Harold on 40 minutes. Murphy on 45 minutes. Deutsch on 64 minutes. Got one back for Dagenham and Redbridge, but Murphy scored on 82 minutes, his second. And Jamie Curitan scored on 85 minutes, but Dagenham and Redbridge still went down 3-2 in defeat. Luton 3, Northampton Town 4, in what has been an amazing month for Northampton Town, it must be said, on and off the pitch. Benson opened the scoring for Luton on 9 minutes. O'Toole scored on 18 minutes to equalise for Northampton. Daff scored on 30 minutes. Richard scored on 42 minutes to give them a 3-1 lead. Benson scored on 52 to make it 3-2. Green scored a penalty to make it 3-3 on 66 minutes, but Holmes won it for Northampton on 69 minutes. Mansfield 1, Leyton Orient 1. Simpson opened the scoring for Orient on 12 minutes, but Lamb scored on 40 minutes to equalise. Notts County, big shout out to Big T. We always throw them T's up for Big T, aka Thomas Hewitt. Notts County 4, Newport County 3. Byrne opened the scoring on 5 minutes. Rodman put Newport 2-0 up. Not Rodzilla, not the worm, but Noble scored on 34 minutes. Isaiah McLeod scored on 41 minutes. Scored again on 71 minutes to give Notts County the lead. Bowden scored on 83 minutes to equalise for Newport, but Noble scored his second goal on 96 minutes to give Notts County the win. Oxford United 1, Carlisle 1. McDonald on 34 minutes and Dunkley with an own goal in first half stoppage time equalised for Carlisle. Plymouth 1, Cambridge 2. Comedy defending on a couple of these goals. especially Williamson on 6 minutes opened the scoring, with Wild on 73 equalising for Argyle, but Berry on 86 minutes. The defending on that goal was absolutely laughable. Ryan Sonley must have been throwing furniture around, to say the very least. But yeah, that's how it ended. Plymouth 1, Cambridge 2. Portsmouth 4, Hartlepool 0. Lavery on 32 minutes, Jackson on goal on 37 minutes, Evans on 61 minutes, and McNulty on 19 minutes. Yeovil 2, Barnet 2. McLean on 18 minutes. McLean again in first half stoppage time, and Zoko scored on 80 and 86 minutes. So, and also in Sky Bet League One on Sunday, 13th of December 2015, it was Sheffield United 1, Coventry 0 in the solitary game there. Sharp scoring on 79 minutes. Sam Ricketts was sent off on 92 minutes. So, who's jumping in on the Football League results? On the Football League results first. Russ Vernon, how about it?
Yes, Liam. Before I take the Leeds result, I'm going to jump in on the United game from yesterday. I watched that game yesterday afternoon, and for me, Coventry should have had a goal. There was a blatant goal, which the ball crossed the line, which the keeper caught. The ball went across the line. Referee didn't give it. United should have had, at least in my eyes, 2 men sent off. They didn't give it. Billy Sharp scored with what I think was his first touch, heading in a corner for the Blades, ex-Leeds man there, and then Ricketts, that was a deserved red card for Ricketts, eye boots, and he already on a yellow card, so he had to go second yellow there, so it looks like he's only going to be missing 1 game other than 3 weeks. It wasn't a straight red card. Moving on to Leeds United now, and I thought that game, the chances we should have won. We created by far better chances in the game. Second half, well, from what we heard from Noel Whelan, I've gone on Facebook. Big shout out to you, my friend. I know you'll be tuned in right now alongside Adam Pope. So big shout out to you too. And it was a good commentary from you guys. And I thought Leeds absolutely brilliant. Noel did a blooper there, Liam. When Eddie had that shot and he come back off the post, he automatically shouted, "Get in," only to see he come back off the post. He thought, because everyone in the ground thought that was in the back of the net. If he went for the keeper getting a touch, I think that would have been in the back of the net. We would have gone on to score more because we were the dominant side in the second half. Going back to Friday night and the Rotherham United game, and I saw the goal from Will Harniman, which was an own goal, and if I was in the other end, it would have been a goal of the week contender. Fantastic diving at the straight past his own keeper, and I think that was probably his first touch of the game. They were saying on the radio Friday night, so I was into that game, and there was a match on tonight in the Sky Bet Championship. It's Blackburn who played Rotherham against Nottingham Forest, who played Wolves, and that's current score is Blackburn Rovers 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. I'll keep you updated in the chat on our second half goes at Ewood Park as part of Sky's this is the 4th game in Sky's 10 games in 10 days of the Football League action, which you can see Leeds United in action on Thursday against Wolves, Liam, if you're not doing anything.
I'm already busy on Thursdays generally. Well, I might give it a cursory glance. We'll see. But Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in as well?
Yeah, I'll take the Stevenage game really first of all. Well, I wasn't actually at the game. Danny was actually there, though, and he can give you probably a bit more perspective on it from that side. But yeah, I thought from the highlights that I saw, I thought it was one of those kind of crazy games, really. Obviously, you saw what happened with Yoren against Wickham, and I'm sure you've seen Akimo's goal, the second goal that we scored against Wimbledon from Saturday. It was a very similar one from the left back. He kind of took a free kick from his own half, kind of just hit it long, bounced over the keeper, and it's one of those kind of funny blooper moments again when they go for you, of course. But obviously going against Wimbledon is obviously going to be disappointing for them. But yeah, overall I thought it sounded like we had pretty much deserved the victory as well. Matt was he was quite a decent player, and I'm quite pleased that he got himself a goal as well. But yeah, it's all going to be about Akimo really, and his free goal that he won it with.
No, I hear that. I mean, it's one of them. Danny, do you want to jump in as well then?
Yeah, I do, actually. I was at the game on Saturday, actually, and I thought Stevenage played extremely well. I thought they passed the ball around very well, worked as a team, and I think Teddy Sheridan's picking up a bit of form recently. Obviously, we had a bad start to the season, and thought we scored some brilliant goals to equalise and win it. So we went a goal down before half-time, and then in the second half, it all changed. I mean, Jamil Matt scored a terrific equaliser, magnificent strike, top left corner. And like Mike said, the equaliser by Jerome Akimo is a freaky one, actually. He was about to take the free kick, and then suddenly it bounced into the area and over the keeper. And yeah, a bit of a bizarre goal, but we won the match by 2-1, which is a vital 3 points and well deserved.
I mean, it's one that was interesting. It's been another one of those interesting weekends in terms of results. I mean, hey, I would look at the Plymouth one where it's like, ooh, it was like that was one that kind of stuck out when I was paying attention to the weekend results. I got to say that much. So yeah, and of course Northampton. With all their turmoil on and off the pitch, it looks like it's starting to turn around for Northampton though, after a very turbulent November that they've had. But it is one of them ones. I mean, Tom Wood, did you want to jump in on the Football League results this weekend as well? I mean, I know the Southend game was postponed for Bradford.
Well, with the Southend result being called off, I wasn't really looking at the results, to be honest. But we only dropped down like one place. But with the game on, I don't know if you discussed the JPT semi-final game, our result against Millwall. Did you announce that or not?
Haven't had a chance to, but if you want to talk about it, feel free, man.
All I can say is that Millwall basically outplayed us in the Tuesday game. I think the players didn't seem up to it, but they've had the weekend off. But it'd be good. I think their fitness levels will be up to scratch for this Friday's game against Bury.
I hear that.
But I'm not really too bothered that we're out of the JPT now. Anyway, I'd rather concentrate on the league this year than going on cup runs.
Yeah, but cup runs are always fun, though. That's always the thing. They are always fun,
but other than that, like Phil Brown was saying in the paper today, that he went and watched Bury with Phil Parkinson instead of at least he had a game to go and watch instead of going to the Bradford game. He was him and Phil Parkinson both went to Bury v Chesterfield. He was Phil Parkinson was scouting Chesterfield. Phil Brown was scouting Bury, so at least he had something to do on the weekend than sitting on the coach home while the players were training at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, it's Mike Harniman was just said in the chat actually, Woody versus Amanda on Friday. That's going to be good. His mate down there is a Bury fan, so that's going to be. She's already
said that she was going to sit in the South End, and if she can't get a ticket in the away end.
I hear that. On a side note, actually, Leicester City 1, Chelsea 0 is a half-time result. Jamie Vardy's goal on 34 minutes, the only goal of that game so far. It's his 15th goal of the season. And it's one of them ones, if he can stay fit, well, Euro 2016 is coming up. We're going to talk about that draw a little later as well. Coming back to the Premier League, Saturday, 12th of December 2015, Norwich 1, Everton 1 in the early kickoff. Lukaku, speaking of good goal scoring form recently, Romelu Lukaku scoring on 15 minutes, could have had a hat-trick, to be perfectly honest, in the first half. But Wes Hoolahan scoring on 47 minutes. True game of two halves, that one. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 0. Johan Cabaye scoring on 38 minutes. And it's one of them with Shane Long. The chances he had really should have at least got Southampton a point down at Selhurst Park. Man City 2, Swansea 1. Wilfred Bonney scoring against his former club on 26 minutes. Bafétimbi Gomis scoring on 90 minutes. But just when Swansea thought they'd rescued a point that they felt that they deserved, Iheanacho with a very fortuitous goal on 92 minutes, a deflected shot off a Yaya Toure shot. Iheanacho knew nothing about it, deflected in off him, and it was one that was really unfortunate for Swansea, but they went down 2-1 in defeat. More on Swansea a little later because they're managerless at the moment. Sunderland 0, Watford 1. Igalo scoring on 4 minutes. Could have had another, but was actually ruled offside correctly as well. West Ham 0, Stoke 0. Bournemouth 2, Man United 1. Jezzy, would you like to say that again and take the goal scorers?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm certain.
Are you sure? Are you sure, lad?
I didn't start. I'm certain.
That Jezzy, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to? Because I think I think Manchester United do deserve
-5 stars. -5 stars.
See, now here's the thing. I'm not going to talk about goal scorers. I'm just going to talk about this -5 stars thing. Right?
Well, they
Let's
deserve
not
it.
forget who Bournemouth beat last week. They beat the reigning and defending champions.
Man, everyone's beating Chelsea lately. Don't try and deflect. Everybody's beating Chelsea. Chelsea are like a dusty rug at spring cleaning, the way they're getting beaten. And
This isn't
thank Jim Cornette.
deflection, right? This is making a point. They beat the reigning and defending champions. This is a team that's high on confidence versus a team that's now been relegated, and literally that's what it is, relegated to the Europa League, right? And that's no disrespect to the Europa League. The Europa League is a fantastic competition, right? Especially at this stage where you start to see that all of the teams in terms of quality really start to even out. And that's the beautiful thing about the Europa League. The Europa League has so many quality teams that are of a similar level that it's so difficult to actually predict a winner that all you get is fantastic games from this point on in the competition. That's what you have in the Europa League. That's how the Europa League is. But having said that, right, as I say, and I said it last week, this is a team in Bournemouth that have stuck to their guns, right? They buy into the philosophy, they believe the philosophy, they execute the philosophy. And at the end of the day, if you want to talk about execution, they were the team that executed in the final third better than Manchester United. That's it.
Yeah, especially one person in particular, and that person being Junior Stanislas with his goal straight from a corner on 2 minutes. Now, of course, the wind had a hell of a lot to do with that. Because, boy, it looked like a good ball in, and then the wind just took it. And it's like, oh, my word, it's gone in. 2 minutes. Inside of 2 minutes, we were actually doing updates on this game. Inside of 2 minutes, Junior Stanislas scored. Marouane Fellaini bundled in an equalizer on 24 minutes. But Josh King on 54 minutes with a nice little low drive. Very, very well worked goal, scoring on 54 minutes. And once again for Manchester United, it is a case of, for their fans.
Tell me I did not just see that.
Especially after Junior Stanislas's goal. Because, hell,
well, look,
after the week...
You already said that Junior Stanislas's goal had a big slice of luck in it, right? And it counted the wind. So, you know, look, that was a freak goal.
All right, okay? So what about Bournemouth's
was it avoidable?
That was slick.
Absolutely, it was avoidable. But here's the thing that I'm going to say about all this, right? Despite all that, the team is still in 4th place in the league.
Yeah,
right.
And so people are calling for Van Gaal's
head. The biggest concerns that I have over the past week are this, right? We're no longer in the Champions League, right? That cost about, I think it's around about 20 million.
Yeah, at least.
Right? To not qualify for the round of 16. Right? So that's very expensive for Manchester United when you consider all the financials. Right? And speaking of financials, to have that happen and then lose to Bournemouth, and this is no disrespect to Bournemouth whatsoever, in my humble opinion, they deserved the victory. That's the truth. They deserved it. They wanted it more. They got it.
Definitely. They were the better side. They wanted it more.
But in terms of the impact of stocks, right? Now, a lot of you won't know this, but I'm going to announce it anyway. I actually quite like to have a look at stocks in my spare time.
Okay.
Right? And one of the issues that I have with the loss to Bournemouth is that if you were to look at the Manchester United stock prices after that result, considering the week they've had already, it wasn't good.
So similar to David Moyes' tenure when you lot lost like what?
Pretty
Where
much,
was it?
right?
Was it
And
chipped
this
off like
is where the
250
concern
million
comes
off the
in.
price?
Like, yes, the team is still, doing relatively well in the league in that they are fourth, they are in Champions League contention as it currently stands, right? But in terms of everything else that comes with it, now I'd say, would the club say no to an extra 20 million? No, that 20 million you could probably spend on buying another player, or at least funding, part of the transfer fee.
Try and buy somewhat of a prolific striker,
right? So, to lose out on that 20 million, absolutely huge. And then, of course, to lose out on the 20 million and then to lose to a team, no disrespect, I am not saying that, Bournemouth are beaten just because Manchester United are, they're on their way to go and play them. That's not it. That's not it at all, right? What it is at the end of the day, right, the reason why Manchester United are potentially my flop of the week, right, and you have to stay tuned into the show for stuff of the week later on in the show, is because what you're looking at essentially is two must-win games, right? You must win the game against Wolfsburg to put it beyond doubt that you stay in the Champions League and you make that 20 million, right?
But what did you do? But what did you do against Wolfsburg?
This guy.
Did you capitulate?
This guy. I'm making the point.
Did you capitulate?
I'm making the point.
Where's G-Man? Where's G-Man in this? Did you not capitulate? You had to win against Wolfsburg.
I'm just here listening to Jesse waffle.
Listen, nobody's making breakfast.
About
waffle.
Hey, Jesse, wait, Jesse.
Right? Two must-win games this week, and you lost them both. That's the issue that I have personally.
Do you want to know what the issue that I have is? The issue,
all my listeners, to everyone that's locked on for me, thank you so much. You're not going to be hearing from me again until next week. Good night.
The issue that I have with what Jesse has just said is,
if I wanted crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
That's my issue. because
I don't know what the hell's going on here. Wait a minute.
The United fans don't like it. They don't like it at all. 2 defeats in a week. And they don't like it. Man U, Man U are down. Man United are down. Man United are down. They just got slapped down by Bournemouth, by Wolfsburg. Got knocked by Bournemouth, by Wolfsburg.
We know he's not going to win.
In regards to the Champions League, we know who's not going to win. I'm leaving it as that.
I'm too salty right now. I'm too salty. It's like when you go to your favorite chip shop, right? Shout out to George's, and you order a portion of chips, right? Or in my case, a nugget roll with some chips, with extra chips, right? And a pickled gherkin, right? And your hand gets a little bit too heavy with the salt shaker. That's where I'm at.
More salt than you can kill a snail with. After the week Man United have had,
-5 stars.
It's all they deserve. Oh Lordy, you know what?
Can we move on now, please?
No, not yet. Anyway.
Louis Van Gaal's on me.
LVG. he needs to be on the bench just pointing his thumbs at himself, guy. LVG.
Madre mía.
Oh my word! It is just tremendous. It really is. It really is hilarious. And you know what? It's one of them ones. By the way, it is one of them ones where there are certain people in moments like this. There are certain people that need to be quoted. Because Man United fans last season took great pleasure in mocking certain other teams who dropped into the Europa League last year. It's one of them ones. They took great pleasure. So in terms of what happened to Man United this season, as a Copite, as a Liverpool supporter, as someone who wears the liver bird upon his chest, Jezzy Fizzle, I would like to say to you and every other Man United fan out there, karma is a BIT. You can finish that one off. And in regards to your Champions League campaign this year,
Life sucks, and then you die.
I'd just like to say that. Now
okay, so you want to talk about karma now?
Now we can move on.
No, let's talk about karma for a hot minute.
No, I was going to say, let's move on to Sunday, 13th of December 2015.
Right? I like how you're still flapping your gums at the moment, right?
Welcome to Thursdays.
So here's the thing I'm going to say to you right now, right? Because I already told you I'm salty like my chips from George's and I'm not happy.
Welcome back to Thursdays.
Right? So let's just entertain something for a minute. Okay.
Welcome
Let's
back.
look at that league table. Okay?
Welcome back.
Let's look at your team. Then let's look at my team. Let's look back at your team, and then let's look back at my team.
And let's look at the most recent set of results. Let's look at my team. Look at your team. Look at my team. Look at your team. And it's one of them ones. Who lost on the weekend?
Let's go back to the league table.
Who lost on the weekend and who didn't?
Until you guys are actually in contention for Europe, if I was you, I'd keep it stum.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. We'll let all you Man United fans want your manager out, even though you're only a couple points off top spot. More confused than Scooby-Doo, a lot of Man United fans, but I'll leave that aside because it's similar to the Wenger out brigade too. Speaking of Wenger, Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 2. Another game that we were doing Pitch Talk Live updates on. Olivier Giroud opening scoring on 8 minutes. Aaron Ramsey on 38 minutes. Liverpool 2, West Brom 2. Jordan Henderson opening the scoring on 21 minutes. Dawson equalising on 30 minutes. Mignolet came and flapped. Completely missed it. But I'm not actually going to blame just him because we did have chances to clear it afterwards and didn't. So, hell, it's one of them ones. You can blame that as much as Mignolet coming out when he had no right to and completely miss it. But it is one of them ones. West Brom did have a goal chalked off in first half stoppage time, and rightly chalked off as well because it's one of them was Olsen was offside, as well as there was another player just like a yard the other side of it was offside as well. So it's one of them ones. But Olsen ended up scoring on 73 minutes. Header from a corner, and it's one of them was sloppy play again from the Red Men. But Divock Origi scored. Speaking of Iheanacho's goal earlier, big time deflection on 96 minutes. Origi from distance, speculative, trying his luck, hit and hope in front of the cop. Boom, equalizer. It is one of them was saving Liverpool's blushes. Speaking of saving blushes, Newcastle are starting to save theirs because Tottenham won, Newcastle 2. In the first half that Tottenham pretty much dominated, Eric Dier finally scored on 39 minutes. Lamela versus Elliott. There's one of Lamela versus Elliott was versus Rob Elliott in the Newcastle goal. Was a little running battle. And like when we were doing the updates, we actually said, hey, it's one of them ones. It's 2-0 to Rob Elliott. And then from the corner after Rob Elliott's latest save, Eric Dier rose and scored. So it was one of them ones. But Mitrovic, inspired substitutions. Mitrovic on 74 minutes, and Iosi Perez won it on 93 minutes. You want to talk a capitulation? Up against Chelsea, Jamie Vardy with that goal on 34 minutes. It is one of them ones where, hey, Chelsea's title challenge is capitulating, and it's capitulating quite badly at that. And you know what? It's capitulating even more. It is capitulating even more because it is one of them was the man of the minute of the moment, as Jersey Fizzle would say. Riyad Mahrez has made it 2-0 to Chelsea to Leicester. It is one of them was Leicester City 2, Chelsea 0. And Chelsea, my word, I am going to have a lot of fun with a lot of Chelsea fans at work. I'm going to be doing Degeneration X cross chops and everything. It is one of them ones. Hey, you know what? It is one of them ones. It's funny because there were some Chelsea fans I know. One an old mate of mine who's like, no, don't worry, man. We're getting into Europe next season. Yeah, you might want to look behind you at relegation, to be perfectly frank. But yeah, it is one of them ones. In regards to the Chelsea fans who were flapping their gums last year, all I can say to them is,
life sucks, and then you die.
That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying to Chelsea.
All I'm saying to you is be wary of that karma, yeah? Be wary of that karma. You doing them DX crotch chops and all the rest of it, yeah?
Yeah.
You might just get a smack in the mouth, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, it's one of them was Chelsea deserved it. Especially Jose Mourinho, where everything is really coming home to roost for him, isn't it? It really is. But Jezzy, G-Man, you jumping in on Sunday's results?
Yeah. Let me just jump on the Arsenal one quickly because and a few of the others. Because I've got to say, that was a match I was pretty worried about in terms of our form this season in the return matches after Champions League games, and us really and truthfully dropping some serious points to teams, as Jesse will know, weaker teams. But with all that said, I think the guys put in a great performance. I think the first half was exhilarating. Theo Walcott showing that he's getting himself back to full fitness. The first 8 minutes in which he won that penalty for Oliver Giroud just showed that for a back line his pace is well needed and he's troublesome. But also, our counter-attacking goal on the second one was just, typical Arsenal. Great passing and movement out of the defence. Ozil being the real tinkerman of the move. Aaron Ramsey showing that, given the chance to play centre, he can do a true box-to-box man. Because not only did he finish that goal, in all essence, he also showed how well he does to come back and defend for the team as well throughout the match, especially in the second half when we dropped our form. Aston Villa, from an Aston Villa's point of view, they had a terrible first half. And this ultimately, just set them up for not being able to do much in the second half, especially if, you're going to have Arsenal who are going to then consolidate and try and remain as a counter-attacking side in the second half. And, Arsenal do have the defensive frailties at times, but, against a team like Villa, who are not in the best of form, they was always going to find it hard to break down Arsenal defense, especially with, Peter Cech in goal now, who broke or equaled the record with David James with the most
with the clean sheets record. Do you know what it is? It is one of them ones where we do have a few congratulations. And yeah, Petr Cech equaled the all-time Premier League clean sheets record as he shut out Aston Villa in Arsenal's 2-0 win at Villa Park. So he drew level with David James on 169 clean sheets, though he has achieved the mark in far fewer games, 337 to James's 567. So his first chance to break the record comes on December 21st when Arsenal host Manchester City.
Oh, brilliant!
So it's one of those, and that's from Yahoo Eurosport on December 13th.
Newcastle's result, being that Tottenham being our big rivals, even though some don't agree with that, but I'm sticking with it. Tottenham, to be honest, they let that one go. Mind the gap, boys, because you just don't know how to hold a lead. You don't know how to hold the momentum, and 13 consecutive non-wins is not a great unbeaten record to be screaming and shouting and making the DVD about. But when they scored in the 39th minute, you just thought it was all over for Newcastle, because in that first half half, they were absolutely all over the place. Steve McLaren must have been thinking, you know, what happened to the team that, you know, played Liverpool and essentially played them off the park. But in the second half, you know, the second half substitution of bringing on Mitrovic, so Cisse, who I got to say, he has not looked the same in the last 2-3 seasons. And yeah, anyway, Mitrovic comes on, he scores, he you know, he was an instant impact. You know, Perez then scoring on the 93rd minute, you know, Tottenham let that one slip. They could have jumped Man United and been within the top 4. And they'll
come on though. We know about Tottenham's record in the top 4.
Yeah, apps. The Liverpool game, I think, you know, I think people need to not overreact a little bit with this one, especially because as I've been saying to my dad, who's a big Liverpool fan like yourself, Liam, and my auntie actually, Auntie Adeline, big shout out to you. You know, you've got a very good manager who's just coming. This right at the moment, it's a bit hard to say whether Liverpool going to do a title sort of run that they did with Brendan Rodgers, or whether they're going to, you know, just waver around the, you know, the top 6 sort of positionings. But the fact is, yeah, it's time that's needed. He's finding his team. He's picked out some great results of recent weeks. He's there's still time to have some big losses as well, because Klopp is new to the Premiership, and you know, he's finding his feet. And I saw some comments at the weekend about this 2-2 draw, with people laughing at Liverpool and this 2-2 draw with West Brom. Well, at the end of the day, the way the Premiership's going this season, you know, any team can beat any team, it seems like, and there ain't no easy victories. And I just like the way Klopp is handling the situation, especially when I see fans complaining about, why are they holding hands and cheering Liverpool fans after a match? Like, you know, there was once upon a time when players used to do that every week. Yeah. Maybe not the holding hands, but they used to clap their fans every week in and out.
Yeah.
You know?
But for me, with that situation, a lot of idiots are just trying to take cheap shots. Yeah. It's trying to build that atmosphere back, but a lot of people, like we've discussed on shows before, a lot of fans don't look at the bigger picture, and we're in a time where a lot of clubs are basically extorting their fans. Leeds United, and their pie tax.
I think Klopp's playing a clever game as well. What he's doing is he's building a relationship. What he's trying to do is get in there with the fans. You get in there with the fans, you buy yourself so much time. If you, it's like Mourinho when he came, he got himself in there with the Chelsea fans, yeah, and through hard times, just like now. Obviously, you've got the, as coining one of your words, the moronic minorities, but you know, fans are still behind him. They know it's just a bad season. They know he can turn things around, even if they have a bad season this season. You know, they know he can turn things around next season. So I reckon the way Klopp's going about his job, I reckon it's the best thing to do. And you know, I just love it. The patting on the back of the players after matches. You know, talking to them. They're in their ears. It's not just done for the camera. This is like his genuine philosophy and his attitude coming through. And you know, to me, it's what every Premiership manager should be doing with their players. You know. And it's just great to see. But I just want two other London clubs that I just want to talk about. Crystal Palace, yeah, man, I got a big shout out to my brother who was stewarding at the weekend there, J-Man. But yeah, man, Crystal Palace on fine form. Alan Pardew's just doing wonders. Kabai's goal in the 38th minute, you know, brilliant. As you said, Southampton could have, you know, brought themselves back into that match, but you know, just wasted a bundle of chances. But all in all, you've got to give Palace the credit. Like, you know, they're just not. I'm loving this season with some of the teams that are seen as the smaller clubs, because their passion is really shining through, and the results where they're just picking up great victories and putting in great defensive spells as well. And also, you know, West Ham Stoke, a bit of a dry one, but it's a good point for West Ham.
I mean, it's one of them. It's one of them where it has been this kind of season. I mean, you look at Leicester being 2-0 up at Chelsea. Who would have predicted that at the beginning of the season? Chelsea, Chelsea looking, instead of looking down on everyone, at the moment they're in 14th place. So it's like it's one of them ones. Could you imagine that as defending champions? Yeah, Chelsea at the moment are looking like the worst defending champions ever, and they're on course. So it's an interesting one. I mean, Vardy and Mahrez. Who would have thought? Who would have thought Vardy would have 15 goals this season, and we're like only just hitting the middle of December? Who'd have thought that? So it's one of them ones. It's just absolutely insane. It's making for entertaining viewing. I'll give it that. But
it's been great.
Yeah, it's making for entertaining viewing. I mean, it's one of them ones. Stanislas's goal against United. I mean,
really?
Yes, of course, really. That goal was mad. I mean, when he was taking that corner, who would have thought that he would score straight from that corner? Yeah, wind involved in it, but it's one of them ones. It's like these sort of odd instances. I mean, it's just been a fantastic season for that. But speaking of it being a fantastic season, I mean, you look at, say, I mean, a few congratulations that need to be given out, actually. Real Madrid forward Cristiano Ronaldo has become the first player to score 11 goals in the group stage, in the group stage of a Champions League campaign. The Portugal international achieved defeat with his fourth goal of the night, as his side thumped Malmo on Tuesday, having already set a new record of 10 goals with his hat trick, and he basically beat his own feet. Beat his own feet twice in the same night. So he was previously the joint holder of the record alongside Luis Adriano, but he's the outright leader now. We've already mentioned Czech. In terms of other kind of congratulations as well, it is one of them ones you've got to look at that as well. By the way, Yaya Toure's won BBC African Footballer of the Year as well, and he's only the third player after Kanu and JJ Okocha to have received the honour twice from the BBC. So it's one of them ones. I mean, add into that Sunderland's Duncan Watmore, graduating with a first-class degree from Newcastle University. I mean, he's thanked his awesome club and tutors after he graduated with first-class honours from Newcastle Uni. It is one of them ones where Watmore picked up an economics and business management degree at his ceremony as well. So he got given the day off training by Sam Allardyce to go and pick it up. So it is one of them ones. I mean, there's been some really interesting things and some really great things happening this season on and off the pitch. So it is one of them ones. It has been very, very interesting. But speaking of interesting, actually, speaking of interesting, we've got a couple of draws that we've been meaning to go through, and those draws, Euro 2016. We were doing live updates on the Euro 2016 draw. It all kicks off on June 10th, 2016, and Group A is France, Romania, Albania, and Switzerland. So France opened the tournament versus Romania on Friday, 10th of June. Group B, England, Russia, Wales, Slovakia. And England's opening game is in Marseille versus Russia. Their second game is against Wales. So that's going to be very interesting right there. The Euro 2016 Group C draw, Germany, Ukraine, Poland, Northern Ireland. Germany open versus Ukraine in Lille, and Northern Ireland open versus Poland. Group D, Euro 2016 Group D is Spain, Czech Republic, Turkey, Croatia. Spain kick off their European title defense against the Czech Republic. And Group E is Belgium, Italy, Republic of Ireland, Sweden, which a lot of us are looking at that as a group of death, really. But Belgium kick off against Italy and the Republic of Ireland kick off against Sweden. And Group F, Portugal, Iceland, Austria, Hungary. Portugal actually kick off versus Iceland. So Portugal, Iceland, Austria, Hungary. So in terms of those groups, it's looking tasty, but England, Wales stands out. But as an opening game, Belgium, Italy will be a good one. I think Belgium, Italy will be a good, very, very good opening game. So it's one of them ones. But speaking of draws, actually, we've got another couple of draws coming as well. By the way, Michel Platini has actually failed in his bid to have his 90-day provisional ban for football lifted. So he wasn't allowed to attend the Euro 2016 finals draw in Paris. So that's why he wasn't there. But the Champions League last 16 draw in full and the Europa League last 32 draw in full. This actually came down the pipe today, Monday, December 14th, 2015. Champions League last 16 draw. Ghent versus Wolfsburg, Roma versus Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea again. Speaking of again, Arsenal versus Barcelona. The perils have come in second in your group, but it is one of them ones where Juventus host Bayern Munich. Now that's going to be good. PSV Eindhoven versus Atletico, Benfica versus Zenit St. Petersburg, and Dynamo Kiev host Manchester City. The first legs are scheduled to take place on the 16th and 17th and 23rd and 24th of February. The return legs on the 8th and 9th and the 15th and the 16th of March. Now, Europa League last 32 draw. Valencia versus Rapid Vienna. Fiorentina versus Tottenham Hotspur again. Borussia Dortmund versus FC Porto. Fenerbahce versus Lokomotiv Moscow. Anderlecht versus Olympiacos. FC Midtjylland versus Manchester United. Augsburg v Liverpool. So Klopp's going back to Germany for that one. Sparta Prague versus Kuban Krasnodar. Galatasaray versus Lazio. Schalke versus Braga. Shakhtar Donetsk versus Schalke. Marseille versus Athletic Bilbao, as Jersey will remember from a couple of seasons ago. Athletic Bilbao. Sevilla versus Molde. Sporting Lisbon versus Bayer Leverkusen. Villarreal versus Napoli. And Saint Etienne versus Basel. The first legs are provisionally scheduled for the 18th or 25th of February, with the return legs on the 10th and 17th of March. Tremendous. It's one of them ones. Hey, if Liverpool win that second leg, I'm going to have a good birthday. Anyway, all three English clubs will be at home for the second leg because they were seeded. So, Jazzy, G-Man, before we throw out to the Skypers, thoughts on the Euro 2016 draw and also the Champions League last 16 and the Europa League last 32 draws? Guys, you want to have that before we throw out to the Skypers?
Yeah, why not? I think, Euro 2016 draw, it's beautiful. In terms of like tasty games, as you say, the opening game, Belgium, Italy, me personally, I'm looking forward to that game. You've got one of the best young teams in the world. I think they weren't they ranked number 1 recently, or like in the top 3? Belgium.
Yeah.
Like when I was recently in Brussels, right? I actually saw there was a television crew. They were interviewing local people in Brussels, in the Louise region, asking them about the national team and their latest rating in the top 3. I think it was top 3 of the FIFA rankings at the time. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And then of course Italy under Antonio Conte. I'm looking forward to what they do in a major tournament under him. Right? He's had all that success, not just as a player, but as manager for Juventus as well. And I think I'm looking forward to seeing if his managerial style actually translates for the national team, the Azzurri, in a major tournament. And going up against Belgium, I think that's going to be a fantastic test. But one of the key components for me, one of the real interesting points for me, is will Vincent Kompany be fit enough to play in that game? Right? Because he's been crocked most of this season. He was crocked last season. And he's an important player. Like, yes, they've done well without him, but, you're always better off with your best players. And I think he's one of their best players. So that one I'm looking forward to. in terms of the draw with England and Wales in the same group, it's going to be interesting. I want to say a big shout out to Jennifer Evans on that one, because we know who she's going to be supporting. Right?
Yeah,
so on that note, you know who I'm going to be supporting. So you know it's going to be real interesting. It's gonna, you know, now it's not just rugby, right? Where that rivalry is. It's not just in boxing where that rivalry is. Now it's, you know, more than boxing. It's more than rugby. Now it's going into football, and it's going to be very interesting, especially if one of those two teams progresses and the other one gets knocked out in the group stage. But going on to the Champions League, you know, this is the meat and potatoes.
I'm going to say the meat and two veg.
Meat and potatoes of the competition, and you know the draw is absolutely fantastic. Bayern Munich and Juventus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just
Gonna
wow.
be tasty. Yeah.
Wow. Right? Like literally, you know, that is a football enjoygasm right there. No word of a lie.
Wait, where's Gary Neville at?
Football enjoygasm right there, because you know those are the kinds of games that you look forward to. Arsenal against Barcelona. I don't want to say that Arsenal are out already by default, because that would be disrespectful, but it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. And Mike Harniman raised an interesting point last week. He did say, you know, that generally speaking, you know, he was hoping for a tasty game like this one. That's what he said. It's all recorded, right? Go check out last week's podcast. Okay. So for me, I'm looking forward to that aspect, because if Arsenal do pull it off, obviously one of the favourites, and you know, arguably one of the best club teams in the world, if not the best club team in the world, now over in the World Club Cup Championships, you know, if they knock them out, I have to say Arsenal are one of the favourites after that point. But then I say to you, how do you solve a problem like Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, and Neymar?
Who I swear last season got 150 goals between them.
This is the point I'm making.
150. That's just impressive.
This
no
is
matter what way you
those
slice
three
it, that
players,
is impressive.
150 odd goals, and this season, right? Let's not forget, Lionel Messi is playing catch up now.
Yeah, he's been out for a month or two with an injury.
He's playing catch up.
Suarez and
he's
Neymar
not
have
taking
still
that long
been
to catch
smacking
up. Right? So, you know, I'm not saying the Arsenal fans should be scared or nothing like that. No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't be scared. It's only Barca. But, you know, like I say, going up against one of the best club teams in the world, very interesting. But moving over to the Europa League, yes, Manchester United have got FC Midtjylland, and I do expect that Manchester United go through to the round of 16. But having said all that, though, like I said to you, and I said before about the meat and potatoes of the Champions League, this is where we start to get into, you know, the nice side dishes in the Europa League. Right? So you're talking about, you know, if you like your broccoli, bits of broccoli. If you like your carrots, you know, your caramelized parsnips. Right? This is what we're talking about. Yeah, so it's all the tantalizing veg. You know, anybody that likes a little bit of spinach or a little bit of kale, yeah, we'll throw that in there as well. All right? Because are
you making jambalaya?
No. Do you even know what goes in a jambalaya?
It sounds like the Royal Rumble.
Do I need to take you all the way to New Orleans?
It's just a mix of everything. That's what I'm thinking. Royal Rumble 2000.
No. We'll take you to New Orleans. All right. We'll go to Bourbon Street. All right, and I'll introduce you to a couple friends over there. But anyway, the point I'm making is, you know, this is where it gets really tasty in the Europa League. Really, really good draws there in terms of the teams, and it's going to be interesting to see who progresses. As you said, you know, one of the standout games, Tottenham versus Fiorentina again. But, you know, this is where it gets interesting. This is where, as I say, you start to see that some of the teams at this point in the competition, whether it's form, whether it's status, whether it's a combination of the two, everything starts to even out. And it's going to be very, very difficult to separate a lot of the teams.
I mean, see, this is for me, this is the thing where it's like where you're in the Euro 2016 draw, and we're going to throw to the G-Man and then to the Skypers in a second as well. The Euro 2016 draw, I mean, that's going to be a really interesting tournament. I mean, as one of them was France opening the tournament against Romania will be interesting. You'd expect France to win that, but the England group. I mean, you got Skirtle and a couple of them lads in the Slovakia team. So it's one of them ones. I mean, England Wales is going to be the interesting one. That coming up as the second game. I think it's on a Thursday as well. Where it's one of them ones that is going to be very, very interesting. Chris Coleman said he didn't want that. He didn't want them drawn in the same group because of the media circus that comes with it. But considering they've got them, he was like, well, I'll take it. It's one of them ones I think Wales are happy to be there. But remember, this is the expanded format now. This is 24 sides instead of the usual Elite 16. So it's going to be very interesting. There's going to be a lot of teams qualifying to the knockout stage. But Northern Ireland have got a real job on their hands to qualify out of that group. You'd expect Germany to top it. Probably say Poland second, just purely on the basis of Lewandowski. I mean, he's that good. But it is one of them with Spain, Czech Republic, Turkey, Croatia. You'd expect Spain to go through in that group with probably Czech Republic following them. But Croatia will give it a good run. Belgium, Italy, Republic of Ireland, Sweden. I'm not even going to try and pick out of that. If Belgium bring their A game, they'll qualify top. Italy now, not the force they once were. But it will be a tough ask for the Republic of Ireland to get out of that group. It really will be, whether it's second or third, it'll be tough. I mean, Portugal, you'd expect them to pretty much cruise that group. With probably say Austria following them, to be honest. But it'll be one of them ones. I mean, the Champions League last 16 draw. I think Roma are going to get pounded into dust by Real Madrid, to be honest. It's going to be, in the words of Jim Cornette, they're going to get beaten like a dusty rug at spring cleaning. Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea. Chelsea's current form, I can see Paris Saint-Germain knocking them out again. I can really see them getting knocked out again. Arsenal, Barca. I can't see Arsenal being able to live with MSN, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. Really can't. I mean, there are probably few, if any, teams that can handle those three. And by the time mid to late February comes around, Messi will be up to speed, and that is ominous. And Wayne Schuman's funny, as I said, Koscielny will handle them. Yeah, good luck handling three of them. He's one of them that just play triangles around him. But it's one of them. The fact of the matter is, it can be so difficult. Juventus, Bayern Munich. I mean, that's one of them ones where it's like that kind of game is what the Champions League is all about. To an extent, same with Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, except that's the battle of the billionaires. So, but Juventus, Bayern Munich is what the Champions League is all about, and underline the word champions with those two. So it is going to be very interesting. PSV Eindhoven v Atletico should be interesting, along with Benfica v Zenit. But Manchester City going over to Russia is not easy. A lot of people think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to beat Dynamo Kiev. But you got to bear in mind, in the last couple of seasons, Manchester City have struggled at CSKA Moscow. So, in terms of the draws, Man City have got the kindest draw because they top their group. But it's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to beat Dynamo Kiev. That's where I'm going to leave that. Europa League, Valencia, I was hoping they'd draw Man United because it would have been funny if Gary Neville had taken Valencia to Old Trafford and knocked them out. If that was going to happen, it would have been very interesting to have seen Liverpool Dortmund. So I was kind of glad that didn't happen this early. Midgetland, Man United really should beat them, but then Bilbao said the same thing. So it's one of them ones. Augsburg, Liverpool. When that came out, I was like, you know what? When I saw Augsburg, Liverpool come out, I was like, yep, cool, I'll take that. Can't underestimate them. But considering we could have got Valencia, Borussia Dortmund, we'll take it. But Tottenham got Fiorentina. That's a difficult one. I mean, they've put them out before, so that's gonna be a very interesting one. I mean, it's one of them ones. There's a couple of little interesting ties in there. I mean, Dortmund v Porto should be a good game to watch. Actually, should be a very, very good game to watch. Galatasaray Lazio should be interesting too. Winners from 2000, obviously. But I mean, it's one of them ones. There are some very, very there were some interesting games in. I mean, Villarreal Napoli was quite interesting too. So it's one of them. Very, very interesting. G-Man, did you want to come in on these 3 draws as well before we throw out to the Skypers?
Yeah, I've got to agree with you and Jesse about the Euros. It is set up very nicely. As Jesse said before, it's a beautiful draw. Just focusing on England's Group B at the moment. To be honest, I see everyone saying this is quite a good draw for England. But I'm not too sure, because I think a lot of it's more than football, and like what you said of what Chris Coleman said about the media circus. When you look at Wales and England, then naturally that is a rivalry. It's a derby of some sort, and Wales in very good form. They've got a very good squad. We know the players. They've got one of the best players in the world in Gareth Bell. Alongside Aaron Ramsey, the likes of Williamson at the back. I'm not having such a good season at Swansea, but we know what he's capable of. And the actual passion that Wales showed, to get through to the finals. You can see they're up for it. So I don't think that's going to be as easy a match as some English fans might believe. I think that's going to be a very testing one, and I'm just hopeful that England can do the business and the boys do show up. But then again, you've got Russia as well, and again, Russia might not be the best of teams, but this could be a political circus with Russia, especially when you think about what's happening in the world today. And Putin and Cameron are both going to have their say, whether they're in football or not. They are going to have their say on this game, and in some form or fashion, it's going to be in the media, and there's going to be that big circus around that. And Slovakia, yep, you do see England winning that one with ease. You could say that, that should be a game that they should really win. But I don't think the group's as easy as just 1, 2, 3. Beat all 3, or get the points that England actually need to qualify. So I've got to be a bit hopeful of those games. But like you said, with France, Romania, Albania, and Switzerland, France really should be qualifying from that group. I reckon Switzerland will qualify with them. Germany, Ukraine, Poland, and Northern Ireland in Group C. I actually just see Germany, and it's a throw of stones between Ukraine and Poland, I would say. Again, in Group D, Spain, Czech Republic, Turkey, Croatia. Spain should qualify depending on how they turn up in this tournament, because you've got to say they did have a pretty poor World Cup. And Czech Republic, Turkey, and Croatia, well, any of those 3 could qualify from that group. So again, that could be potentially a tight group. It all depends on Spain's first game, how they kick off against Czech Republic. With Belgium, Italy, Ireland, and Sweden, Jesse, I reckon he hit the nail on the head with Italy versus Belgium. Those 2 teams in that kickoff. Whoever wins that game, potentially, that team will qualify, and the other team potentially will drop out. I reckon Republic of Ireland have a good chance of getting through that group, just being that they're going to be heavy underdogs. And even Sweden with the likes of Zlatan, the pedigree of that guy in front of goal, he could definitely drag his team through in that group and cause some troubles. And Group F with Portugal, Iceland, and Austria and Hungary. Now, I would love to say Portugal are favourites for that group, but it's Portugal. Portugal are that team where they'll turn up at one tournament, but then there'll be an absolute shambles at another tournament. They've sort of got that English factor as well, where I guess the estimation of them or the overestimation of them at times, gets to the players and they crumble. But really and truthfully, they should qualify from that group. And again, Iceland, Austria, Hungary, any of those three could qualify as well. But yeah, that's my sort of predictions. Probably change closer to the tournament. Going towards the Champions League now, I really wanted to say my piece on the Arsenal-Barcelona match. I actually, I saw this one coming with Barcelona. It's law of averages, 5 teams in the pot that we potentially could get. It was a Real Madrid, Barcelona, Zenit, Wolfsburg, and I can't remember the other team, but I was hoping for Wolfsburg or Zenit, to be honest, and Dynamo Kiev. But I was hoping for Wolfsburg, to be honest, but it didn't materialize. Barcelona is going to be stiff competition. I see a lot of division, where fans are like already we might as well just concentrate on the league now. I agree with that. Concentration should be fully on the league, trying to maintain getting victories, but I'm not throwing the hope out of the pot. I think what it is for Arsenal in that first leg, it's about what our front three can do, because it's Barcelona. Again, defensively, they're not the best defensive team, and if you trouble them at the back, that's going to draw Messi, Neymar, Suarez to have to defend, and they're not defenders. Just like the front three attacking players of Arsenal, they're not really good at solid defending. So if Arsenal can really put Barcelona on the back foot at home, have a good concentrated defense, which it's hard to see when you got the likes of Neymar up front with Messi, with Suarez, as you were saying, Liam, and you got if we're going to have Mertesacker at the back, and that's added extra pressure for Koscielny. And then some would say, yeah, throw in Gabriel, but Gabriel has looked so inconsistent this season. He puts in some great performances, but then he's been shockingly poor at other times. And then, you're thinking, Monreal and the Bellerin, they're having great seasons. A lot of pressure to have Suarez on one side and Neymar on the other side. That sort of nullifies them too. So you're relying on your midfield, really and truthfully, to actually do the business and protect that back four. And again, it depends how we structure. Again, are we going to go Coquelin, and if he's fit, that is, and have the likes of Aaron Ramsey, or are we going to go double defensive with Coquelin and someone like Flamini? Or are we going to have an injury crisis at the time and be there with Arteta and God knows? It really is, for me, a hard one to view Arsenal qualifying from that situation. But the hope's there, and when we go into that match, I'm always going to say Arsenal to win the game. But we'll wait and see on the 23rd. For the first game, and then we'll wait and see the second leg as well. Just won't go through all the results, but yeah, like Jesse said, Juventus Bayern Munich final last year, that's going to be tasty. Can Juventus overcome the mighty Bayern, who again are in formidable form? Touching on Manchester City, Dynamo Kiev, you have to think Man City got to qualify for that one. It's in some sort of way, you see the way that they're playing in the Champions League, and you somehow think it's their time to get at least to the semi-finals, sort of finals, and with the likes of Sterling and De Bruyne, who have actually brought some sort of attacking prowess to Manchester City this season in certain games, especially more open matches. So you think that they'll be the English team that be carrying the flag really and truthfully furthest in the competition. Chelsea, it's just a bit hard to predict what they're going to do, especially with what they're doing in the league against PSG. Yeah, Chelsea on their day, really and truthfully, can easily beat PSG. And if I'm being a hater, I'd say, yeah, PSG easily beat Chelsea, but that's not true. Chelsea can do their thing on their day, but what Chelsea will turn up so far this season in the league, we've been seeing a Chelsea that we haven't seen since the 90s. But yeah, enough said with that. Europa League, just touch on the English teams, I guess. Tottenham, Fiorentina. I think this one 50-50 for me. Really 50-50. The pedigree that Fiorentina, have, but also this new youthful Tottenham squad that are showing that, they can actually genuinely play some good football. As I said earlier on, the first half against Newcastle, that has been Tottenham this season. Even though a lot of the games they have let slip up, they can play some good football. And the Europa Cup seems like a tournament now. They've been in it for a few seasons now, where they've solidified themselves as sort of a team to be reckoned with. Liverpool, Osberg, Liverpool, since Klopp's taken over, he's made them look very credible in this competition by, actually playing a full-strength squad for the games. And, I can see Klopp taking this seriously, and especially in January, who knows what signings he's got to make. That's something I didn't mention earlier, because he potentially are the board going to give him money to make potential signings? Has he got people lined up, as the papers have been saying? We know it's all paper talk sometime, and it's just waiting to see what Liverpool team turns out in after January, I guess. But I see them winning that game. And Man United versus Midtjylland. Well, I don't care. Man United have to win that. Will win that. I can't see Man United losing that if Van Gaal's gone or Van Gaal's still there. Even if Ashley Young's playing at left back with that young guy that can't defend at right back. I don't know, but Man United need to qualify for that, because I think this is their best hope of getting a trophy this season. To be honest, I think Man United really do. They have the players. The players are there. Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin. They got Depay. I'm not even going to mention Martial. I think it's just 1-2 seasons before his time. But Wayne Rooney, trying to get him back into form somehow. Maybe playing two up front, having him play off somebody like when we've seen the best of Wayne Rooney.
I think Martial's probably the key, to be honest, because he's, for me, looking at Man United recently, especially against Bournemouth and against and the highlights from the Wolfsburg game, and I don't know if Jesse Fizzle will agree with this, but it's one of them. Martial looks like the one shining diamond in a pile of crap that is Man United recently, or at least over the past week. He's the one shining diamond in that, who looks like he can create something, not just generally, but out of nothing. To me, he looks the only one who's got that creative spark in him.
But he lacks the polish. That's the one thing. He's young, he's great. You can see it, like you said, but he doesn't have the Michael Owen about him.
No, of course.
He doesn't have that polish.
I was going to say you can't polish a turd, but then he's not turd. So it's like, well, but it is one of them ones where it's like, yeah, United v Midtjylland, it would be funny if they lost against them, because you can only imagine the memes. It'd be like those Dylan White versus Anthony Joshua memes. Memes would be on that level. It was mad. But I mean, Wayne Schumann, you wanted to jump in on these draws, and then we'll have Mike Harniman. Then we've got our A-League roundup as well. So, Wayne Schumann, welcome home, man. I ain't seen you in a bit, but yeah, what's up? You want to jump in on the draws?
Yeah, man. Just been busy. There's Christmas coming up and everything. It's busy time. I just wanted to touch in on the Euro draw. I think it's going to be a tasty tournament. There's some good draws there. Belgium's group, I think, is the worst group anyone could have got. So we're lucky that we avoided that group, really, because I don't think we'd have got through. But then, I mean, the group that we've got, I agree with G-Man. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people are making out. Wales are looking good. Russia are one of them nations, depends if they show up, they can easily beat us. My only thing, as talking to Mike in the chat with England, is Have we really learned or moved forward since the World Cup? Yes, we have in some regards, because we went on we had a good qualifying, went through, done 10 out of 10. But them nations that we were playing against, you expect us to beat them. We come up against Spain in the friendly, they beat us. Yes, we beat France, but what was going on, France didn't really look like they wanted to play the game, to be honest, that night. But I just don't know. I think if we get through that group and we come up against nations like Germany and that, I just can't see us getting through. Germany just looked too good. Spain looked too good. Like you said, Italy are not the force they once were, but they're always there or thereabouts. They're just one of them nations that I think even if they play bad, they can still pull out results. And they're usually in the quarters or the semis, and they've got a good record against us as well. Hopefully, we will have a better tournament in the World Cup, and England will, prove a lot of people wrong. As I said, I'm hopeful we will get through, but as long as we actually win a game in that group, not like the World Cup where we only got 1 point out of the whole group, which was very poor. So hopefully we'll have a better tournament and get through. Also, Arsenal-Barcelona. I'm not saying it's over. We should just give up, because if we got all of our players back fully fit by then, if we got a fully fit team, if we got Coquelin, Sanchez, Wilshere, Walcott, Welbeck, all of them fully fit, we've got a chance. It all depends on if we get injuries between now and then. As I said, if we got a fully fit team, we've got a chance, especially the first leg being at home. If we can try and get, a couple of goals to take back to their place, I think we've got a chance. It's just if we got players out, like if Giroud gets injured or Welbeck gets injured and, we've got no strikers or defensive midfielders, then we're going to struggle. But other than that, I think if we got a fully fit team, we've got a chance.
I would say a chance, but it's gonna be one of.
It's gonna be tough. As you said, Messi, Suarez, Neymar. I was joking saying, Koscielny's got Messi in his pocket all day, but come on, coming up against them three, Mertesacker's players like Mertesacker and players like they've got to step up in that game. They've got to. Koscielny, I've heard a lot of people in the last few weeks saying he's one of the best, or if not the best, central defender in the Premier League at the moment. If that's true, then he's got to step up in that game. Bellerin, I think people saying, it's too much pressure for players like Bellerin and Monreal. But if you want to be the best players in the world, you've got to do the job against the best strikers in the world. So that's the way that I look at it. It's no good saying, oh, crap, we're coming up against one of the best strikers in the world. What do we do? If you want to be the best in the world, it's the same with, winning tournaments and that. If you want to win tournaments or the league, you've got to beat the best.
Yeah, no,
that's the way I've always looked at it. And, and I've always looked at that with England through tournaments, like when we get hard teams now and people say, oh, we didn't want them first. And I'm like, well, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat it. You're going to get these teams at some point. You've got to beat them. That's the way that I've always looked at it as well.
But then you don't want to. But then you don't want to do it this early, though. You don't want to have to come up against these teams this early, do you?
No, but at the same time, as I said, if we beat them, then we could win. Go on and do well in the Champions League. Not saying we're going to win it, but if we beat Barcelona, what's from stopping us winning it? If we beat them, then we can. We've already beat. Yeah, we got smashed by Bayern Munich out there, but we beat them at home. So if we can beat Barcelona, we've got a strong chance. Even though we have got them early on, but as I said, if we got a fully fit team, we got a good chance. We just got to try and get a decent scoreline to take out there. I think Czech will help us big time in goal in that game. And, I think that's where we struggled over the years in Europe as well, when we haven't had... Szczesny's a good keeper, but he's not world class. And when he comes up against world class strikers, I think he struggles. Whereas Czech is, is completely different. I think he will help us big time in that game. But as I said, it all depends on, if we got a full strength team and if what sort of tactics Wenger plays as well. Like Ian Wright's always said, it depends what Arsenal show up on the night.
No, that's true. No, that is very true. It's one of them ones where, Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in as well, didn't you?
I'd take
on these draws.
Take it with the Arsenal, the Champions League draw with Barcelona. First of all, I agree with what Wayne's just said there. Really, I think you have to beat these teams anyway, whether it's this stage or whether it's later on in the competition. And I think that with Arsenal, we struggle against the lesser teams. If you take it from the Champions League, the early stages of the Champions League, for example, in the group stage, you take it from the league, the Norwich, the West Brom. You look at the teams that we've beaten. We've beaten Bayern Munich. We were fantastic when we played Man United at the Emirates, for example. So the big teams like that are teams that we thrive on playing against. And I think I've just got a feeling that might actually work in our favour, because I think obviously, yes, it's going to be a challenge against Messi, Neymar, Suarez and co. But as G-Man said, they're not great at the back. Obviously, neither's Mertesacker is a bit slow, and it's going to be a lot of pressure on Koscielny, Monreal and Bellerin. But I think Bellerin will thrive under the pressure, playing against his former employers. That's one thing. Monreal has been solid. Koscielny's been solid. So I think that we've got a chance. I think, this is from someone who said they didn't actually want to be in the Champions League a couple of weeks back, and would probably rather focus on the league. But I actually think with Barcelona, we've got a chance. And, we've got to make sure we can keep those guys quiet. But it's the same with us. We've got Ozil, we've got Giroud. We'll probably have Alexis back by then. We'll have, hopefully Welbeck. There'll be options like, defensive-wise, both sides are going to have a lot of troubles. But attack-wise, if Ozil's in this form, Messi's in this kind of, tantalising form that he's in, between those two, what a sort of battle off that's going to be.
It's an interesting one, because there is so much room for potential upsets everywhere, really. So Arsenal, I just can't see it. I just can't. As much as you guys at the Emirates have given them good runs for their money before, I don't know. It's one of them was you've got to do it over two legs. And what Arsenal have really flopped at over the last couple of seasons against the big sides is doing it over two legs.
Yeah, and that's like I said
Munich,
pre-show though.
Bayern Munich, too little, too late. Barcelona a couple of years ago, too little, too late. You're coming up trumps and beating people 3-0 in the first leg, but losing 4-0 in the first. It's too little,
but like I said to you pre-show though as well, before the show, I kind of said, there's going to be a time where we're going to do it over two legs, and I just think, there's no better time than the present. So that's the way I see it, and hopefully they can prove me right.
Oh, definitely. It's one of them ones. It's going to be interesting, to say the very least, in the new year. In the new year, it's going to be extremely interesting to see how everything kind of shakes down, because you never know, injuries could come back and hamper a couple of teams. Obviously Arsenal have got a lot of players to come back and that kind of thing, but injuries could hamper a few teams. Speaking of injuries that we don't want hampering teams, Leicester City 2, Chelsea 1, full-time score. Vardy on 34, Mahrez on 48, and Remy on 77 minutes. And Leicester returned to the top of the Premier League on 35 points, and Chelsea dropped to 16th on 15 points, 1 point above Swansea and Norwich. So it's one of them ones, and they're on the same goal difference as Swansea as well. It's one of them ones. Oh, I love it. It's actually hilarious to me. But yeah, Mike Harniman, you wanted to jump in on England before we jump into the A-League round?
Yeah, I'll just make it quite quick. I think the England group really is quite difficult. I think, I don't think Russia's going to be easy or Slovakia is going to be easy, really. And as Wayne said, it depends on how much we've actually progressed, because obviously this kind of competition to qualifying is completely different. Every team in the actual Euro 2016 groups are going to want to make sure they, do the very best they can and actually try and win the group instead of going through and having this kind of thing as the Champions League where you face a higher seeded team and so on. So you kind of want to make sure you win the group, and then that's where I think we need to make sure the Russia and Slovakia ones, we win both of them, and then the Wales one, obviously with Bale and with Ramsey and Kyle, I think that's going to be a lot more to do with pride really than actual both sides getting through, because I think I do think England and Wales will both get through anyway, but I do think there'll be quite a lot of more of the pride factor on that game. But yeah, overall, with the other groups as well, I think France have got their group pretty much under control for me. Germany and Poland, Northern Ireland are going to struggle like anything in that one. I don't think they'll get out of that at all. I don't even see them getting a point, to be honest. I think they'll go even worse than what we done. And yeah, if you look at some of the other games as well, the Spain group's quite a tasty group, Group D. So yeah, and even the Republic of Ireland group again as well was Group E. So there's quite a few decent groups there. And for the home nations, I think England and Wales should qualify. Northern Ireland, unfortunately, I don't see them. And to be fair, with the Republic, I think they're going to be a bit too far behind as well. So I think it'd be a mixed bag for the home nations in the group stage, to be fair.
Oh, definitely. One thing's for sure, the Champions League, the Europa League, and also Euro 2016 is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be one hell of a lot of fun. But you know what? Speaking of a hell of a lot of fun and a little bit of a catch-up as well, it is time for a particular segment of the show which is brought to us exclusively for your Monday Night Footballing Fix, and that is... Oh, you didn't know? Ian Kerr's going to tell you about A-League football.
Hello, pitch talkers, and thank you, Liam, for that wonderful introduction. A quick roundup of round 10 in the A-League. On Friday night, Adelaide United 2, Sydney FC 1. That's right, Adelaide United has won a match. In fact, things have changed a little bit since we last spoke, so let me just keep going through the results and you'll see what I mean when I get to the table. Saturday, Brisbane Roar 2, Wellington Phoenix 1. Then on Saturday night, Western Sydney 2, Melbourne Victory 0. Melbourne Victory slumping to its second defeat in a row. Saturday as well, as a triple header it was. A third match there, Perth Glory versus Central Coast Mariners. Perth won 2-1. And then on Sunday, the Sunday match was Newcastle Jets versus Melbourne City. Newcastle at home, and they lost. Melbourne City put 4 goals past Newcastle. Newcastle started the season very well, have not done so well in the last few weeks. And when I tell you about the ladder, you'll see exactly what I mean. Western Sydney Wanderers, after a rotten start to the season, are now top on 22 points. It's after 10 rounds. Brisbane Roar on second. Melbourne City third. Who would have believed? They have been banging in the goals the last few weeks. So Melbourne Victory down to fourth. Got a game in hand, but they're 6 points behind the leaders, Western Sydney Wanderers. Sydney FC and Wellington Phoenix rounding out the top 6. Newcastle have fallen out of the top 6, but Adelaide United now are still they're a chance to make the finals. And Perth Glory are now off the bottom of the table. Central Coast Mariners, sorry to say, holding up at the bottom of the table. Don't seem likely to make the finals this year. Of course, the big news was that this last weekend was the first weekend after the fan boycotts and the fan strikes that we've seen over the last fortnight. It all came about because of an article that was published in a Sydney tabloid. And in this tabloid, they named 198 fans who've been banned. Now, I know that you in the UK will think, well, whoopie-doo, fans get banned all the time. Well, the problem in Australia was that these fans would get banned without any due process. They just get a letter in the mail that says, you're banned, thank you very much, and no right to appeal. So there's absolutely no process. So that was what this fan protest has been over the last couple of weeks in Australia. First of all, there was a walkout after half an hour by fans, and then the following week there was a boycott. And fan attendances across the league were plummeted, basically. There was real paucity of crowds, and there was a lot of anger. And then last week, during the week, we saw a summit held behind closed doors between fan groups and the football administration. And that has led to a commitment by football administration that there will be a proper appeals process put in place for future fans who are banned, and they're reviewing the current procedures. Basically, there's lots of good news there for fans. So fans stuck together and got a result there with the administration. It was a shame that had to come to this, because this is a matter that fan groups have been talking about for years and years. But finally, they've got some sort of justice there. This means, of course, that fan groups can get back to doing what they do best, which is hating each other. So looking forward, we've got a catch-up match coming up soon for Melbourne Victory. That way, there was a match that they missed out on earlier in the season. And so we're about a third of the way through the season now. The top six is starting to take shape. Melbourne Victory have lost that form they had earlier in the season with a couple of consecutive defeats. Wanderers resurgent. Melbourne City are on fire at the moment, and that's largely thanks to their midfielder Aaron Moy. Aaron Moy plays also for the Australian national team, and there's a lot of talk that he will be joining a European club during the January transfer window. Such is his form at the moment. He is clearly too good for Australia. He's going to be going overseas very soon. So it'll be interesting to see what clubs are in the mix. Of course, a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago now, it was we saw what's his name from Brisbane Roar go to Manchester City and probably be offloaded or loaned out to Bolton. Oh gosh, what was his name? Isn't that terrible? I can't think of his name. We even featured him in issue 2 of Thin White Line magazine. So that's Luke Bratton. There we go. Name came to me eventually. So Luke Bratton, he was sort of what most recent star midfielder produced by the A-League, although didn't really get much of a run in the Socceroos team, whereas Aaron Moy is a bit more of a creative midfielder than Bratton is. So interesting to see where he ends up, probably leaving Australia during the January transfer window. Well, that's what the rumour is. Now, of course, issue 3 of Thin White Line magazine is out now, and I encourage you all to buy it. In fact, if you buy it tonight while you're listening to the show, there's an outside chance you'll get it before Christmas. So if you're looking for a Christmas present, where you want to spend about $28 Australian plus handling and shipping, well, that's the great present for you right there. That's a Thin White Line issue 3, chock full of amazing articles, if I do say so myself, including one written by me. Go to thinwhitelinemagazine.com and you'll be able to pick up a copy of issue 3 there. If you don't really feel like buying the magazine, well, shame on you. But in all seriousness, you can still follow us on social media or anti-social media, if that's what you prefer. Twitter, we're on Tweet Like Line. If you go to Facebook, Thin White Line Magazine. Instagram, don't know what we're called on Instagram, just look for photos of football, and that's us there. Thin White Line Magazine or something like that is our handle on Instagram. You don't find us on Snapchat because we don't know how to use it. Anyway, there you go. Thanks very much, Pitch Talk people. We'll catch you soon. Back to you in studio.
Yeah, it was one of them ones. That Thin White Line magazine roundup is an exclusive for you here on your Monday Night Football and Fix Pitch Talk. Big shout outs to Ian Kerr and everyone at Thin White Line magazine. As I said, Pitch Talk features in issue 1 and issue 0. Their latest issue 3, is out now. Go to thinwhitelinemagazine.com to pick up your copy. And also at Tweet White Line on Twitter. Give them a follow there. Tell them that we sent you, and facebook.com/Thin White Line magazine as well. So it's one of them was they also do their own podcast as well. And also it's one of them was you heard the roundup, buy the shirt. It is one of them was big time shout outs to Thin White Line magazine. And a big shout out to Mike Harniman as well. He said he's just going through the payment stages now. So it's one of them was got one of the PT family buying it. Make sure you grab your copy of Thin White Line magazine. Very, very well produced publication as well. It is one of them ones. Just to throw over to the socials very briefly, we put out a question. Chelsea CFC will be lucky to make mid-table, let alone Champions League or Europa League. Thoughts? And Nathan Arsenal has said agreed. They can forget top 4, maybe even top 6. Their decline is shocking, bearing in mind how good they were last year. What the hell is wrong? Not that I care. I'm loving it. The only thing missing from that was a McDonald's line, like a hash McDonald's. But it is one of them ones. I said, what I think's wrong with Chelsea is that, boy, it's one of them ones. Mourinho's arrogance just come home to roost, and he's burnt so many bridges. Yeah, that's the way. But you know what? It is one of them ones where we are going to take a quick little pause for the cause. But we've still got more show. There's been a very interesting survey that's results the results of have actually come out this week. So we are gonna delve deep very soon. But just for the moment, we're gonna go into a quick pause for the cause. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. See you in a minute. The football talk show that holds back nothing on opinions.
Straight shooting LJA.
Hi, I'm John Sitton.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon.
The G-Man.
Samira Sonley, Motivate Sports and Fitness.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
We the people, for the people. Jazzy Fizzle.
Your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Each and every Monday night of your lives.
At youtube.com/pitch talk.
For podcast links and information, check out our official website, www.pitch-talk.com. Your Monday night footballing fix, Pitch Talk, is brought to you by and in association with
Talking Pie, a local podcast made by the fans for the fans of Notts County FC, hosted by Adam and Thomas Hewitt.
Simply Exclusive Entertainment. If you need a party or rave film, go to sxemedia.com for more information.
Apparently Rich, simple yet effective web solutions to help get your company off the ground. Visit apparentlyrich.com for more information. And LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video. If you need a video filmed and or edited, check out ljaproductions.co.uk. LJA Productions, the new blood in digital video, offering video production services such as video editing, video encoding for the web, including YouTube and Vimeo, audio recording, filming of interviews, promos, live events, and much more. Get in touch at www.ljaproductions.co.uk or twitter.com/LJA Productions and let the new blood in digital video promote you. Pitch Talk is brought to you by and in association with
a one-stop shop for all your coaching needs, Motivate Sports and Fitness. Check out motivatesportsandfitness.com for more information.
The new football culture magazine, Thin White Line. Check out thinwhitelinemagazine.com for more information.
Storm FM with new hot releases played daily. Feel the boom at stormfm.net.
Two girls with their Bonnie Scotty trying to cover as much women's football as they can. Girls on the Ball. Check out girlsontheball.com for more information.
Hello, I'm Rob Vernon.
Grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Christian Carambeu.
Matt Hodgson, Director of the 4-year plan.
Dave McLaughlin.
I'm Rob Lusher.
Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
Former chairman of Ibis FC.
Chairman of Alexandra Park FC.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
The only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk. Make sure you join the revolution, the football revolution.
Grassroots segment, of course. Yeah, it is. We are back in the Grassroots segment. Just like to give a big shout out to Big Shot Ron of the Section 357 show, who has just come back and said, so it's now mid-December, Chelsea in relegation fight all season. You know what? They're only a point off it. What up, Mike? They are only a point off it. So it's one of them ones. They're close. They're close. It's one of them ones. Caller, let me guess. Is that Mr. Tom Wood?
Yes.
Fantastic. We are just on the Grassroots segment, so we're going to jump in and mosey on. First and foremost, like to give a big shout out to the 14 Southern Amateur League, 14 SAL, the word 14 SAL on Twitter, and www.southernamateurleague.co.uk. Also, the Amateur Football Alliance as well, at Amateur FA on Twitter and www.amateur-fa.com. Also, a big shout out to the AFA Youth Council as well, facebook.com/AFA Youth Council, and also at AFA Youth Council on Twitter as well. Big time shout outs to their chairman, Mr. Gerald David, who is our next Pitch Talk Meets interviewee. New Year's Day 2016 is the release date of Pitch Talk Meets Gerald David, the full interview that's coming out. And every Wednesday in this month of December, we've got a bonus video building up to that release. So we've got one coming out this Wednesday as well. So it's one of them. We've already got two out. youtube.com/Pitch Talk. Go to the Pitch Talk Meets playlist and you will see that those first two bonus videos. So it's one of them ones. But you know what? Jumping into the Grassroots segment, big shout out to Ibis Eagles. The Ibis Eagles, who myself, Straight Shooting LJ, and the G-Man call our home club. www.ibiseaglesafc.co.uk is the official website. Facebook.com/Ibis Eagles AFC is the group, and Twitter.com/Ibis Eagles AFC, at Ibis Eagles AFC on Twitter. Training is usually on Wednesdays at Battersea Park, but there was no training this Wednesday. It will start up again on January 6th due to the Christmas break. But the results from Saturday, 12th of December 2015, Old East Tamians won, the Ibis Eagles won 2. The Ibis Eagles reserves won 3-2 against Old Blues reserves. The Ibis Eagles Frees were held to a 2-2 draw in a local derby against Polytechnic Fours. The Polytechnic Fives beat the Ibis Eagles Fours 3-0. The Ibis Eagles Fives, the lads that I'm playing for this season, won 3-2 against Old Wilsonian Sixes at Riverside, and Old Wilsonian's Eights versus the Ibis Eagles Sixes was postponed. The fixtures for Saturday 19th of December, Wearside Rangers reserves versus the Ibis Eagles reserves. Merton's Fours host the Ibis Eagles Fours, and the Ibis Eagles Sixes host the Bank of England Fives. So big time shout outs to the Ibis Eagles and everyone involved at the club. It is one of them was looking very interesting. Pretty good week of results, apart from the Fours, unfortunately. Big shout out to Titch. Unfortunately, his boys going down 3-0. So it's one of them was a bit of a shame there. But big shout out to Ed Ryan running the Ibis Eagles Fives. The 1 week I can't make it and we win. It's like, no, I love to see the wins. But it's always good stuff. A positive week for the Ibis Eagles. The big shout out to Hackney Wick FC as well. We did recently mention an initiative where you can actually become a part owner of the club, and they're also starting up an academy in January as well. www.hackneywickfc.com. Go to the contacts page for information on playing. They are also at Hackney Wick FC on Twitter as well. Big shout outs actually in terms of grassroots football to at Beautiful Game 15 on Twitter and Two Men in Search of the Beautiful Game on Facebook. That's Daniel Magna and Tom Sparks. Big time shout outs to them because they're going around to a lot of grassroots clubs, amateur clubs, semi-pro clubs, doing little features there as well. So they're doing very, very good stuff. Two men in search of the beautiful game. Daniel Magna and Tom Sparks. Big shout outs to them. Big shout outs to Leeds Ladies FC as well. LeedsLadiesFC.co.uk, Instagram.com/LeedsLadiesFC, and at Leeds Ladies FC on Twitter, and Facebook.com/Leeds United Ladies. Big shout out to the Stevenage Ladies as well. Facebook.com/Stevenage Ladies FC, and at Stevenage Ladies on Twitter as well. Also, a big time shout out also to Porter's Sockability as well. This one was facebook.com/Porter's Sockability. Tom Wood, have you got a quick update on Porter's Sockability for us?
Yeah, we had our last tournament before Christmas, Saturday just gone. Went pretty well. I even scored a goal myself, especially with my classes breaking on the Friday. I managed to still play, and I managed to sneakily get myself a goal. So it wasn't too bad. It was basically a sweaty goal as well. It was right in front of the goalkeeper, straight through the goalie's leg. I got 2 assists as well, so it wasn't too bad.
Sweaty goal, I love that.
And we had our Christmas party as well after as well.
I hear that. Man. These things all going well. So everything's going well at Porter's Sockability.
Yeah, we're hoping to get some friendlies after Christmas, hopefully, as well. And I also found out this weekend that Chelsea FC disability team are no longer existing no more.
Well, that's a real shame, actually.
Because apparently their training pitches over at Cobham, where they play their matches at Chelsea training ground, all the pitches are different colours. So it's quite weird. I found that out this weekend as well, which was quite interesting to find that out as well.
Yeah, that is. We're going to have to investigate. We're definitely going to have to investigate that one.
Yeah.
Speaking of investigations, actually, and thank you very much, Tom. Speaking of investigations, we're going to take it forward a little. Sports bodies' last-ditch effort to protect grassroots funding. This is from the 8th of November 2015. The Football Association, Rugby Football Union, and England and Wales Cricket Board have written to the Prime Minister as part of a last-ditch attempt to convince the government not to take an axe to grassroots sports funding. There's a reason why we're going to go down this road. Governing bodies of Britain's 3 biggest sports all signed a joint letter to David Cameron urging him to act over planned cuts of up to 40% in the budget of the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, which were expected to be imposed by the Chancellor of the Exchequer in November. The Lawn Tennis Association, England Athletics, British Cycling and the Amateur Swimming Association were also among more than 20 national governing bodies, NGBs, to have endorsed the letter amid fears over the loss of much of the $100 million a year they are given to boost participation. Seen by the Daily Telegraph, the letter marks the start of a 2.5-week campaign that included lobbying of the government by British sports stars, past and present. Members of England's football, rugby and cricket teams could be recruited to help fund the campaign, which was being orchestrated by the Sport and Recreation Alliance, the umbrella body for Britain sports NGBs. The SRA also conducted a poll of more than 1,000 people, 75% of who agreed grassroots sport should receive more funding from the government. However, with Chancellor George Osborne close to finalising a comprehensive spending review that was published on November 25th, the campaign may have come too late to make a difference. That could mean tens of millions of pounds being lost to sport. Just as Sports Minister Tracy Crouch is working on a new strategy to increase participation, having pledged this summer to rip up the existing one amid an ongoing decline since the Olympics. So, very interesting there. Thought we'd mention that just to preface this, because on December 10th, 2015, FA Grassroots Survey, the results came out, and it reveals pitch concerns among players. The quality and availability of pitches is the biggest factor in how often people in England play football, says the biggest grassroots survey ever conducted by the FA Football Association. More than 28,750 players, coaches, referees and volunteers replied to the poll, including yours truly, which also highlighted concerns about the standard of coaching. But 75% aim to maintain or increase their involvement next season. The FA will invest a record 260 million into grassroots over the next 4 years. As we've mentioned before, that's an increase on the 200 million previously. But we've discussed that at length before. Addressing the problem of poor quality facilities is one of the areas we have earmarked significant additional investment, said FA Director for Participation and Development, Kelly Simmons. She told BBC Radio 5 Live that there has been a chronic problem with poor pitches, and introducing new all-weather 3G artificial surfaces, particularly in cities, was integral into everything we want to achieve. More than half, 52% of respondents said football is the most value for money sport to take part in, beating cycling 36% and running 32%. According to the latest Sport England survey, 1.9 million people take part in football each week, but the FA lost 1.6 million of public funding after a drop in participation figures in 2014, which of course we mentioned that on previous PT shows. But about 83% of amateur football pitches take place on council-run pitches, which the FA has previously said are in an abhorrent state. Squeezes on council budgets have seen costs rise for local teams, but National Game Senior Development Manager Pete Ackley said last year that building more sustainable artificial pitches would help solve the problem. The FA wants to bring the number of all-weather 3G artificial surfaces in line with some of its European counterparts. Part of this will come under the Park Life scheme, which will see the creation of hubs in cities, a scheme which is being piloted in Sheffield. FA Chairman Greg Dyke said last year that grassroots football was in a degree of crisis. He pledged a 50% increase in the total number of full-size, publicly accessible 3G artificial grass pitches across England to more than 1,000. Ackley said, Pete Ackley said, we are seeing a lot of players will play more if we get the environments right. We are finding that the better the pitch, people will play more, and absolutely more people will play. When it comes to coaching standards, the survey revealed high satisfaction ratings among youth players aged 10 to 15. However, satisfaction falls among older players. The poll also revealed some concerns about the cost of coaching. The average price paid for a level 1 coaching qualification in the last 12 months was £90, with a level 2 course costing on average £208. Approval ratings among female players about pitch availability and quality, changing facilities, refereeing and coaching standards are higher than in the men's game. FA Chief Executive Martin Glenn said, the scale of the response demonstrates the level of commitment that exists to improve the grassroots game and reminds us, if we ever need it, who we are representing and what we are striving to achieve. There are lots of positives. We are listening and ready to act where needed. So, key stats from the survey: 76% of volunteers will continue in their roles next season, 19% don't know, and 6% will not. 28% of players are dissatisfied with the regular pitch they play on, and 1 in 5, 22% of those will play less football next season, and 33% of players are satisfied with their pitch. Will play more football next season. So, you know what, yeah? We've discussed at length before. I know G-Man and Jezzy will know this as well, and will attest to this. We've spoken a lot before, ad verbatim, about grassroots football and what can be done to improve it. Now, the facilities debate, this comes up all the time. You didn't have to conduct this survey to know that facilities are one of the biggest things, and pitches are one of the biggest things. We've discussed it on Pitch Talk Me's interviews with Dave McLaughlin, who cited, because of where they are, drainage issues and facility, and which ties directly into facilities. Many other people have said on Pitch Talk Me's interviews that facilities are the main thing that really puts people off playing. So it's a case of, it's not new. The one surprise was the coaching thing, though, where satisfaction falls among older players. That's quite an interesting one that I actually didn't expect. I mean, but for me, the fact is that 83% of amateur pitches take place on council-run pitches. That's not a surprise. In all honesty, and the fact that there's been a lot of the fact that there's been a lot of kind of constriction in terms of kind of council run pitches and the budgets going into them. That's not a surprise. That's not a surprise anyway, because I mean recently it was one of them ones where it was I mean recently it was a case of, we mentioned about Old Westminster Citizens resigning from the Southern Amateur League, and they lost their ground, so they had to dwindle in numbers, and playing membership numbers dwindled without a permanent home ground. So it's one of them ones. I mean, you had Old Westminster Citizens having that problem. There were numerous other clubs. Old Salesians had Old Salesians had a kind of a petition going I think it was back in the summer, trying to save their ground as well from being bulldozed down by a council for houses. So it's kind of not a new thing. But I mean, G-Man, Jezzy, what do you think of this grassroots survey? And do you think the FA asked the right questions in the survey?
I don't know if they asked the right questions in the survey, but I will say this, and this is the part where I, commend the FA. At least they're asking questions, right? And I can only view this as a starting point, right? Now, whether or not they ever get round to asking the right questions, that is only for time to tell, right? I won't be able to sit here and predict that. But at the same time, as I say, I think credit needs to be given where it's due, and they're asking the questions. And I think that's how you start to go and fix things. Now, having said that, I think there's also a lot to be said about participation, right? So if participation numbers are dropping off, and then this leads to a reduction of funds, and then of course even less funding into grassroots, we can already see where the problem is, right? The people need to be there in terms of being visible and actively participating to force the FA to use the funds appropriately, right? Without that, they'll just say, well, there's no demand for it, we'll take the money away. It's really not that overly complicated, but overall, as I said, you have to commend the FA for taking the baby steps. So now that they've taken the baby steps and asking the questions, now it's a matter of them, essentially manning up and asking the right questions and going from there. So, there's no secret that facilities are a big issue in grassroots football. We even asked Gerald David about that in the Pitch Talk meet, in terms of how he felt grassroots football could be improved. So, you guys have to keep an eye and an ear out for our New Year's Day release of the full interview with Gerald David. Pitch Talk meets Gerald David, coming to you New Year's Day 2016. But going back to the point, you'd have to say, well, that's got to be a big area of focus in terms of where the money goes, right? That's got to be facilities. And then after that, where it goes from there, I suppose, again, you'd have to look at what the survey questions and answers, what tallies up the most, and then kind of go from there. But facilities is huge. Facilities is absolutely huge. So, I think maybe that's a starting point. Or, for 1 year, you could go and say, right, this is where the bulk of the investment is going. Almost think of it like TFL, right? So they say TFL is non-profit because essentially the profits that they do make, they put it back into the service, right? So with TFL at the moment, you've noticed that you've got the longer, better air-conditioned trains now, right? Versus the older ones that are still in operation, that get very, very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter. But anyway, point is, they're actively trying to replace those trains, right? That's where the focus is. They've probably done a survey and they've had, users of the service say, the trains, they're not really it. And the same with the buses, right? A lot of the buses now, they incorporate green technology, right? And even though you will spot a few older buses, the newer ones, they're there as well. So again, if you look at that spending in terms of TFL, you're looking at facilities again. Start there, then branch out to everything else. But I'd say, if you wanted to do a 4-year plan, and that was a pitch talk meets reference, but no, if you wanted to do a basic 3-year plan, right? Let's say the first one is facilities. The next one is making sure that equipment is affordable and accessible, right? And then I suppose the third one, for me would be education, all right? So you're looking at coaching courses, so on and so forth.
Well,
and making those accessible, so on and so forth. So that would just be my version of a really basic skeletal 3-year plan in terms of what to spend the investment money on.
But then that's it. I was just about to say in terms of education. I mean, it's such an important point because it's a case of if you want people to play, it's not just if you build it they will come. It's a case of you've got to build it, you've got to promote it, and you've got to let people know it's there. And the fact of the matter is you've got to make it an accessible and basically an accommodating and inviting environment. There's a PT special feature that we're going to do in future episodes about referees, in particular, spotlighting them soon. But it's one of them ones where it's like it's got to be inviting, it's got to be accommodating. And one of the major things in terms of grassroots football over the past decade, to put it lightly, a lot of this money that's been pledged, you don't really see where it goes. And that's always been my concern, especially when it said, we're going to pledge this to grassroots projects. I've said before that it's a very, very vague term. And it is a case of, I think the FA from time to time in that survey, they asked a lot of questions, but some of them they could have delved deeper into. But as Jesse Fizzle, you rightly said, it's just this should be a starting point. And this is not one of those problems you can just throw money at and make it go away. This has got to be but for me, it should be in tandem with entities such as your Alexandra Park FCs, your Ibis Eagles FCs, your Motivate Sports and Fitness. It's got to be, the FA should be looking to be asking entities such as that, entities that are involved in the grassroots game directly. They should be asked, right, what do you need? What can we do? What are the problems? How do we solve them? Because it's one of them ones, it's kind of like the FA is just basically, for lack of a better term, just kind of carpet bombed it or crop dusted it. That's the phrase I'm looking for. For lack of better phraseology, it's kind of like they've just crop dusted the problem, where it's like, okay, we'll just raise the amount of money that we're doing and we'll fling out a survey and see what happens. But it's a case of what is going to be interesting now is seeing the action that comes from this, and hopefully it's meaningful action, because it's one of them ones. Like it is very easy to identify a problem, but identifying the solution is always the next stage, and following through with that as well, because football sometimes has a horrible way of saying, right, there's this problem, but we're not going to follow through on what we're doing. We say we're going to do this, but we're not going to follow through. So it's a concerning one in that regard. But when you've got clubs having to basically forfeit their places in leagues, such as Old Westminster Citizens, among others, because they've lost their pitches, that's got to be looked at. That has definitely got to be looked at. And if you want, childhood obesity, look at, I think in England we've got one of, if not the highest rate of childhood obesity in Europe. So it's a case of, if you want people getting into sports, you've got to make it accessible and you've got to make it enjoyable. Now, if people are playing on poor quality pitches, they're not going to enjoy it. And that's where, and that that's where this facilities argument comes into it, because if people are playing on crappy pitches and some of us getting injured on those pitches, we're not going to enjoy playing, because most of our time is going to end up being spent injured. So there's so many different kind of angles within this. And for me, the grassroots game is all about passion, because we're not getting paid to play. Us lot playing for the Ibis Eagles or Alexandra Park FC, they ain't getting paid to play. If we play like guys playing for HSBC, Old Wilsonians, Aline Old Boys, South Bank Quarko, ain't getting in the Southern Amateur League, you ain't getting paid. Even in the amateur football combination where Old Medonians play, ain't getting paid to play. We've got to pay to play. We've got pitch costs to pay. So it's one of them ones. We've got hospitality to pay for as well. We've got referees to pay for. So if everyone's taking time out of their schedules, then hell, you got to make it worth people's while. And I said, you can't just throw money at a situation, because hell, we've seen in history, look at WCW, the way they were throwing money around with guaranteed contracts, but then things were slipping through the cracks. Like Chris Jericho's story. I know I'm dropping an obligatory wrestling reference, but still, you look at Chris Jericho's story about him getting a FedEx, and when he opened it up, there was nothing in it, and him getting a royalty check for $0.00. It's like stuff like that slips through the cracks. And the amount of money in grassroots football that has probably slipped through the cracks. I mean, you got I mean, it's one of them ones. You got £5.136 billion like being given to one league that's got 20 teams in it, but then you got the football league with 72 teams, and you've got like the semi-pro, you got the semi-pro game, you got the amateur game, with so many other teams within that not really getting anything. And for me, that's a major concern, and especially when facilities are, I mean, it's such an easily remediable thing as well. But I said, it's a case of the FA can pledge all they want, but where are they keeping track of where the money's going? And I'm not talking one or two showpiece projects where a couple of Premier League players go and say, yeah, we're here, we're doing this, and then a month or two later, that thing's gone. I'm talking about lasting impressions. So, I mean, G-Man, do you want to jump in on this as well before we move on?
Yeah. So basically, I'm half and half on this. I'll start off with the fact that I agree with what Jezzy had said, and you backed up with the fact that at least questions are being asked, and you know, you could, to get to a solution, you've got to start somewhere, and that is the real crux of the problem. The FA, I don't know why, but for so long it seems like they haven't been active. They've just been doing a lot of talking, you know. Not saying that they haven't been investing, but you know, they've known that there's this issue of the failing of grassroots football being invested in for years, for 10, 20 years. They've known this. They've known this since, you know, the increase of stature of the Premiership, and it is basically like a pyramid, and like what you just said there, where the very top where the point is, that's where all the money's getting, and as you get down to the bottom where you've probably got more teams to feed, they're just getting the dribs and drabs, and they've known there's an issue with this for years and years and years, and you know, only now that it's like they want to investigate what the problems are. And this is where I'm on the other half now, where I think it's just PR. Because when you were basically sending the link around, you know, to get involved and answer the questions within that survey, it was like, at the time, I was like, oh, I wasn't going to be bothered with this, because in my head, I'm thinking, why is the FA, and you just touched on this, why is the FA sending a survey randomly out to every and anybody, when I'm sure, and you know, they must have representatives at league meetings all over the country, yeah, they must know the feedback. They must know the issues that's been happening in, you know, every league across the country, especially those in the grassroots. So what are they really trying, what answers are they really trying to get when they already know? Like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you've had these discussions when you go to the league meetings with Ibis. I'm pretty sure you must have had some sort of discussions on this sort of level where different league clubs are grouping together, talking about these issues and, you know, how they're struggling and, you know, sharing views and opinions and solutions. Am I not right, Liam?
Oh no, you're spot on. I mean, when I went to one of the Southern Amateur League mid-season AGMs a couple years back, I think it was with Ollie Wooding. I actually went with him, and we went on behalf of Ibis when I was captain of the Fours. It's a case of we were discussing this, but the underlying current was the fact is that we can discuss it all we want, but are the powers that be actually listening?
But this is my point, because if we are running a true top-down model, yeah, and up to the top sort of model, yeah, then the FA should have representatives at these meetings, and this information should be free. So they need random people to answer a survey, even interested in football, for all they know. If you get what I'm saying, it could be people that's just wants to click buttons for the fun of it, just to have a laugh.
Yeah.
You know, how many are they receiving actually factual results? Because, like you said, you know, they should be going with the best port of contact, and not just right. And you know what? I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to, again, leading back to PR, they're trying to do the whole embrace themselves with the fans of football and make it look like they're doing something for the game actively. Not saying that they're pumping it in, or clubs that they have to feed is that. And you're going back to the why are you talking to the foot soldiers when you could be talking to the generals, really and truthfully? And the generals are getting the information of the foot soldiers anyway, because they're playing with them on a week-to-week basis. They know the clubs inside out because they've set these clubs out, you know, set these clubs up, sorry. So, and they know the issues, you know. To me, it like I said, it's 50-50. Yeah, it looks like they're starting to do stuff, but again, I just think it's PR.
I mean, it is one of them ones where it's like, I think sadly, I think a lot of it probably is. I mean, yeah, it probably is. It probably is a case of where I don't know, man. Were the right questions asked to the right people? I don't know. I mean, it all depends on who kind of filled it in. But I said, I mean, there are these think tanks. There are groups every year. There are leagues that have AGMs, half-season AGMs. Like, I don't get why, like, say people from the FA aren't sitting in on those and seeing what the problems are. Just sit in as an anonymous person and be like, right, so that's the problem. Okay, so I mean that would be where I'd look at a potential solution in terms of why not get people from the FA sitting in on these AGMs and that. I mean, see, that for me would be would be the beginnings of a solution where it'd be like, okay, so that's the problem. So that's that. As you said, instead of talking to the foot soldiers, talk to the generals. Instead of just kind of basically carpet bombing this situation, just go in, do a bit of intelligence and be like, okay, so that's the real issue. I mean, as Jesse Fizzle said, at least the FA are doing something, and this is a beginning. But then the next stage needs to be getting more detailed information. I mean, it's all good getting quantitative information, but at some point you need to dive in and get qualitative information. And by that, I mean it's quality over quantity. I mean, it's all good. It's all good getting 28,000 plus people to actually take part in the survey, but it's one of them ones. If you had let the survey, if the survey had been out for longer, would you have got more people? Did you approach clubs with the survey, or are you relying on people to see it on social media and spread it that way? Like were clubs approached, like say your Ibis Eagles or your old Wilsonians or your Lean Old Boys or HSBC or Alexandra Park FC? Were these clubs actually approached directly and asked, "Oh, we've got a survey going. We'd like to know your views on what's wrong with grassroots football and what grassroots football needs to help it"? Was that? It feeds directly into what I'm saying about were the right questions asked to the right people. So, I mean, I've literally just come up with that solution off the top of my head. Someone at the FA is probably getting paid to do this and not coming out with that. So that's what kind of concerns me about it. As I said, it's all good them doing it, but let's see what they do. Let's see what they do with the information, and if anything actually changes, and if anything actually happens. I mean, hey, I have to go kind of see as a player at grassroots level or amateur league level for the Ibis Eagles, and same with you, G-Man, as well. It's a case of I have to go somewhat CWO in this. I have to go Cynic's World Order on this, just until we see some sort of tangible change. So hell, it's one of them. I mean, I mean, G-Man, Jesse, did you want to add anything to that before we wrap up?
No, I think we can put a bow on it. It's the season, so we can wrap it and move on to stuff of the week.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It is one of them was you did mention stuff of the week. It's gonna have to be a quick one, but hey. Let's go into just a little bit of
stuff of the week.
Good evening. La da da la da da la da la da da la da da. You know what? Let's delve straight in. Usually there'd be the sing along, but time is tight, so let's delve straight in. Let's go for goal of the week. G-Man, Jesse, who are you going for goal of the week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Bournemouth first against Man United. Stanovic.
Yep, I'm going with that too.
Wow.
Stanislas, I'm going for that.
Wow.
Stanislas, really?
Yeah.
You know what? The two of you guys. Wow. Anyway, my goal of the week, Cristiano Ronaldo's fourth. Stop it. Cristiano Ronaldo's fourth against Malmo. It's the record breaker.
Great pick. No, that is a great pick. I like the reason as well. Russ Vernon, who are you going for goal of the week?
For me, Liam, I'm going to give it to Riyad Mahrez for his goal tonight for Leicester. Fantastic finish. And for JBK, he's gone for Napoli's fourth in the Europa League. He texted me that earlier this evening.
Nah, good shout. Mike Harniman, who are you going for goal of the week?
I want to give it to Arsenal's second goal in the Champions League game against Olympiacos, the breakaway goal.
Good shout. Wayne Schumann, goal of the week. Oh, all right, we'll have to come back to Wayne. Ryan Sonley, who are you going for goal of the week?
Mine is going to be Harry Bunn's goal, and Brad Hicks has gone for Harry Buns as well.
Good shouts. Let's go for player of the week. G-Man, Jesse, who are you going for player of the week? Because I'm going for Cristiano Ronaldo, record breaker.
I'm gonna you go Ronaldo, so I'm gonna go Ozil for I haven't said his name in ages. Yeah, just wanted to say Ozil.
Nah, good shout. Jesse Fizzle, who you going for? Player of the week.
Cristiano Ronaldo with an honourable mention to Riyad Mahrez.
Nah, that's fair.
Right, mostly because Riyad Mahrez has picked up the slack, and tonight he got a goal and an assist.
Nah, great shout. It's a fantastic shout. Russ Vernon, player of the week.
Jamie Allen sent me one. Don't know why, but for me, I'm going to give it to, and I'm going to agree with Jesse on it. I don't very often agree with Jesse. We had Mahrez for my player of the week this week, Liam.
Nah, good shout. Good shout. Mr. Harniman, who you going for? Player of the week.
For me, I'm going to give it quite simply to Olivier Giroud.
Fair shout. Fair shout. Ryan Sonley, player of the week.
Sorry about that. Honourable mention to Cristiano Ronaldo, but my player of the week is two players. It's Riyad Mahrez and Jamie Vardy.
Fair shout. Fair shout. Let's go.
And Brad's is Harry Arter. Sorry.
Nah, good shout. Good shout. Let's go for Wayne Schumann. Who you going for? Player of the week.
I want to give it to Joel Campbell.
Great shout.
Because I think he's just proving people wrong. He's making a statement that he wants to be in that team.
Nah, good shout. Very good shout. Tom Wood, who you going for? Goal and player of the week.
Goal of the week, Jamie Vardy's goal tonight, and player of the week, Jamie Vardy again.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Let's go for team of the week. Team of the week. Oh, bloody hell, that's a difficult one. It's definitely not Man United. Team of the week, Leicester City. I'm gonna stick with Leicester City. Team of the week. Jesse, G-Man, who you going for?
Well, I have to go and give an honourable mention to Leicester City, and they would normally get this, but my team of the week's got to be Bournemouth, Chelsea, and Man United. Space for a week. Well done.
Nah, that's a fantastic shout. G-Man, who you going for?
Honourable mention to Leicester City and Bournemouth, PSV as well. But I'm going to go for Arsenal and the Great Escape.
Very interesting. Russ Vernon, who you going for? Team of the week.
Well, before I do mine, JBK says Brighton of Albion for showing determination in every game they've played so far. But for me, honourable mention to Leicester City for their performance tonight. Sorry, Jez, Bournemouth gets mine, along with West Brom, because I thought they, even though they didn't win, Liam, I thought they played quite well against your boys yesterday.
Okay, cool.
No need to apologise for that, Russ. I already went there, so, you can't hurt me. I'm invincible.
All right, Iron Man. Wayne, who you going for? Team of the week.
I'm going to give it to Watford.
Well, good.
Because I think their form last few games, I mean, they're 7th in the league, and I think a lot of people are just sort of, I don't know, not paying attention to them really. So give it to Watford. I didn't do. Did you do goal of the week?
Yeah, we do, but just because of time, we got to really whiz through this segment. We got to really,
that's cool. Yeah, no worries.
All right, we got Tom Wood. Who you going for? Team of the week.
Newcastle.
Fair shout. Ryan Sonley, team of the week.
Honourable mention to Bournemouth. My team of the week is Newcastle for their 2 wins that they've got, and Brad Hicks has gone for Northampton.
Good shout. Mr. Harniman, team of the week.
Yeah, for me, I was going to give an honourable mention to Northampton Town, but my team of the week, based around the Champions League, has got to be Real Madrid.
Good shout. That's a very good shout. You know what? Let's go. Let's go. Flop of the week. And you know what? flop of the week has to be Manchester United, because they deserve
-5 stars.
Because a lot of Man United fans, I'm just thinking to myself,
if I want any crap out of you, I'll pick it out of your teeth.
Because karma is kind of a funny thing. With honourable mention to Chelsea, because after tonight, Chelsea must be thinking,
tell me I did not just see that.
In regards to their result v Leicester. So Man United, honourable mention to Chelsea. G-Man, Jesse, who you going for? Flop of the week.
I can't look past Chelsea, to be honest, and especially Mourinho. Like someone said earlier on the show, karma is definitely slapping him in the face.
Of course. and it's tackling him to the ground. Actually, no, I'm not going to go any further with that analogy. Jezzy, who are you going for? Flop of the week?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to look past Manchester United. It really is, because as I say, and I said it earlier in the show, 2 must-win games and they lost it. But the person who gets my flop of the week, and this is only if reports are to be believed, I need to actually do some more research on this, but if they are correct, Javier Mascherano.
Ah, the tax evasion thing. Yeah. Getting served with jail time, but he won't serve. That's interesting stuff. Russ Vernon, flop of the week.
For me, Liam, Man United. And for
Don't worry,
JBK,
Russ. I've got honourable mention for Leeds as well.
And for JBK, it's gone for Besiktas. Reason behind this, such an automatic places for qualification for the next round in the Europa League on the night, and eventually they dropped out on the same night. That's the reason for JBK giving it to Besiktas.
Fair dues. Tom Wood, who are you going for? Flop of the week.
Swansea for getting rid of Gary Monk.
Perfect. That's not too bad, actually. Hugh Jenkins did it with a heavy heart. Wayne Schumann, flop of the week.
I missed that -5 stars thing. I'm going to give it to Tottenham, actually, just because they're rivals and they lost.
Fair dues. After that first half, they should have pounded Newcastle into dust. Ryan Sonley, who you going for? Flop of the week.
Brad's gone for Ian Williamson, the ref at the Sheffield United and Coventry City game, for not sending off Jay McEverley for a horror tackle on Ruben Lamares. And my flop of the week, I'm going to have to give it to my boys, Plymouth. They were absolutely dreadful.
Especially the defending on the second goal as well. That was actually comical.
I
Just
will
clear
admit,
it.
the first goal was poor as well.
Yeah.
So Plymouth get my flop of the week.
Well, at least you're turning the guns inwards. Mr. Harniman, you're going to round it out tonight. Flop of the week.
Yeah, my flop of the week is Ben Wilson, the AFC Wimbledon keeper, who let Akimo's shot from the halfway line, bounce over him. So Ben Wilson, sorry, but you're going to get my flop of the week this week.
That is good. That is pretty good. You know what? It is one that was where we've reached the end of the show. Big shout out to the Section 357 guys as well. It's where one of them was. We've been having a little chat. They're saying it would be fun to see them collapse that much, but see in terms of relegation, Chelsea. But seeing Mourinho sacked will be enough for me. That'll be fun. But you know what? It is one of them was we got to vacate the place with a haste because it is about that time for us to see.
Hi, I'm John Sitton, and I'm here with Gavin, Liam, and Gerald on Pitch Talk.
The football talk show that pulls no punches and holds back nothing on opinions.
Hello, I'm Rob Russ. My name is Christian Carambeu.
I'm grassroots coach Manisha Taylor.
Hi, I'm Matt Hodgson, director of the 4-year plan, and you're listening to Pitch Talk, the only place to get your Monday night footballing fix.
Make sure you join the revolution.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I'm Andy Copeland from the Glennet Southern Amateur League.
Philip Wick, I'm CEO of 14.
I'm Rob Lusher, former chairman of Ibis FC.
I'm Samir Sawney, co-founder and co-director of Motivate Sports and Fitness.
And you're listening to
Pitch Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, straight shooting LJ, the G-Man and Jazzy Fizzle proudly bring to you the football talk show that pulls no punches and, of course, holds back nothing on opinions. Why? Because the pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk, as well as talk.
www.pitch-talk.com is the official website where you can find out about everything. Pitch Talk, facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we're working so hard to create. Pitchtalk.blogspot.com or .co.uk will get you to the blogs by yours truly, Straight Shooting LJ, the G-Man, Jesse Fizzle, and many others, including Dave Mear, aka at Mearcy, and his The Word of a Ref blog as well. YouTube.com/Pitch Talk is where you can find all of our videos including our live show archives, and you can find Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. Remember, we've released 2 of the bonus videos for Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. We've got 3 more to come on each Wednesday in December, with New Year's Day 2016 being the release date for the full interview. Pitch Talk meets Darrell David. The full interview is coming on New Year's Day 2016. We've got 3 more preview bonus build-up videos coming over the next couple of weeks. It is one of them ones. 07535804466 is the mobile number. Call us, text us, let us know your views. If you text in, leave your name at the end of the text so we can shout you out. Pitch Talk 1 on Skype. Join the live call. We had Danny as a new Skyper earlier on. We've had Wayne Schumann, Wayne Schumann returning, Mike Harniman, Ryan Sonley, Russ Vernon, and others on the Skype chat tonight as well. So big shout outs to them. Big shout outs to the Section 357 show. Big shout outs also to Girls on the Ball, Motivate Sports and Fitness, and also a big time shout out to Finn White Line Magazine, who supply us with a exclusive to your Monday Night Football and Fixed Pitch Talk, and that is the Australian A-League Roundup, letting us know what's going on with the football down under. It is one of them ones. Big shout outs at Tweet White Line on Twitter, facebook.com/Finn White Line Magazine, and FinnWhiteLineMagazine.com. The newest edition of their magazine is out now. Go to FinnWhiteLineMagazine.com to pick that up. Also, you can pick up podcasts, their own podcast, and also, you've heard the roundups, buy the shirt. It's one of them was you can pick up Finn White Line Magazine shirts on their website too. So it is one of them was get in touch with them. Tell them we sent you as well. It is one of them ones. We are also on Twitter as well. Pitch Talk, at Pitch Talk on Twitter. So tweet with us, follow us, see what we're up to. We're also on Google Plus as Pitch Talk Live, and we're on Instagram at Pitch Talk on Instagram as well. It's one of them ones. I have been straight shooting LJA.
And I've been G-Man.
And as always, I've been Jezzy Fizzle.
And you know what? The last shout out of the show goes to the Ibis Eagles at Ibis Eagles AFC on Twitter. Big shout outs to them. And we will say thank you very much. And the big
-5 stars
to Man United and also to Chelsea. And we bid you good night.